And I'll tell you something else honestly. Before I put my butt on the line, this country better show me it's worth it. We gotta think revolutionary. You gotta be ready to elect Che Guevara. Because I will change things if I won.
We need a single-payer, government-run health care.
It's a human right. If you're sick, you should be able to go to the doctor. If we weren't spending all our money on these wars, we could have health care 3 times over.
Health should not be for profit. Everybody in this country deserves the same health care that congressmen get. They should be no better or no worse than us. After all, don't they work for us?
I would start a war on the climate and a war on pollution. I'm watching the oceans die before my very eyes. I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. If the oceans die, we die.
The basic 4 years should be free, so we now pay from kindergarten through 4 years of college. We can do that if we get out of the wars. I'll support that. If we guarantee we get out of wars, the result will be free college.
The state of our country today, we're in a mess. And who is to blame? The Democrats and the Republicans. They have been in charge for my entire life. How can we take our country back today? Simple. Stop voting for Democrats and Republicans. We must, this election, elect an independent. Will you agree we're polarized? The worst we've been probably since the Civil War, I would imagine. Well, if you elect a Dem or Repub, the polarization is going to continue. The only way the country's going to get reunited is to elect an independent president.
So then do you feel a need to do it in order to serve your country?
I have that voice in the back of my head that says to me, if not you, then who? It's there. If they got the frickin' guts to let me in a debate, I'll come in and destroy their 2 candidates and steal the election in November, just like I did in Minnesota.
Ventura being declared the winner. First he was Jesse the Body Ventura, then he was Jesse the Mind, and now he's Jesse the Governor.
If the Greens come back to me in the end of July and say, you're my man, if it becomes brokered, I won't shut the door.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I appreciate you joining in for a Ventura-Thon. We have Richard Idris and Ibrahim Taylor, if that's right. I probably didn't say it right, but welcome. We're here to talk about Jesse Ventura and the Ventura Option. The Green Party has had a crazy primary season with the Hawkins Campaign rigging its primary. Bunch of official players in official positions have been using their position to tip the scale for Hawkins. And in light of all of this, we need to have a serious discussion as a party, as a country, about what to do. And we're talking about Ventura right now, Jesse Ventura. So hello, fellas, and say hello and introduce yourselves. Richard?
Oh, sure, thanks. Well, hi, folks. My name's Richard Idris. I am the press secretary and part of the leadership team for the Draft Jesse, People for Jesse campaign. And I'm here to help talk strategy with everybody and engage with some fans on stream today, hopefully. Good to see everybody.
Go ahead.
Oh, is it my turn? Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I thought you're gonna say go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Anyhow, well, hello everyone. Thank you for doing this. My name is Ibrahim Taher. You can call me Ibra for short. You can see it on my background. I am the Green Party nominee for the U.S. Senate from Oregon. Right now, I'm a candidate running for the U.S. Senate. And one of the things that really agonizing me right now. It's what is happening within the party and the country, and Jesse Option seems really our only hope. That's why I'm here today. So I think we can now try to talk about a few things. Mainly, I'm here to talk about what does it mean to have Jesse as the Green Party nominee for our country and our party in particular. So this is what I'm trying to unfold a few things in this very big question. It's not an easy one, and we need to discuss a few things in this question, because we only have 2 weeks until the Green Party primary. We don't have much time, and I think we can achieve something. We can change things.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks, we have the opportunity to change and to make history. And what I've been recognizing this whole time, well, this recent time actually, since Ventura initially said he was going to test the waters, there has been a wave of people that, first of all, they agree with the Green Party values, but it brings them in, and it's a vibe, an energy that is powerful. And well, it's interesting because we were talking about this earlier. So Jesse's been talking about running for a long time. So he's pretty much been running for 20 years. You can look at any of his interviews. People, when they ask him if he's going to run for president, this is a question they've always asked him, and he's always been talking about it. For him to even test the waters under the Green Party banner and become a Green Party member is a huge thing. And it wasn't, of course, till all the things that happened with the exploratory committee with Justin Beth, Austin, and Aaron Fox that for me, I changed my approach to what needs to happen. And for myself, running for the nomination, because I'm presidential nomination, I'm running for the nomination for the Green Party for president. It's my responsibility to lead and speak on things. And one of the biggest things that I see is here's a real option, an opportunity to get everything we want, everything we need, because all these pieces to the puzzle make it right. I mean, from ballot access to debate, but I mean, those are just parts of getting the job. This is a real opportunity to shock the world, to create an energy, a vibe, the Venturians are some good people, and they bring a lot of interesting perspective. And they've followed Jesse. They're okay with asking questions. They're okay with they're. It's funny because they're not. I'm trying to explain it because I did a little smoking too. The vibe, the energy that they bring to the party comes from a real inquisitive position. So they're okay with asking questions and listening from all these different perspectives, all these different voices. Does somebody want to help me? Okay, Ibra, you're a philosophy major. Can you do a little explaining that, what I'm trying to say there when it comes to the whole philosophy part of it?
Well, I'm not sure exactly
what I'm trying to say.
What we were saying, but
the energy, the energy and the vibe.
Yes, let's talk about this like aspect of Jesse's option for the public. What does it mean for the public? I would like to give like some like a preface, a preemptive here, preamble here, and explain why Jesse is our only hope. Usually when we talk about attracting people to the party. We're talking about something very hard. We should be realistic and honest about it. The Green Party has been there for maybe 30 years. We've never like achieved something that could be a big victory for us since Ralph Nader. So now it's been 20 years and we haven't used anything Ralph Nader brought to the party. So we're talking about a vicious fight between minor parties like the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, and the establishment, which is represented by Democrats and Republicans. I don't want to blame the Green Party for what we have here with the current status of our party and our politics. Those establishment, those representatives of the establishments, meaning Democrats and Republicans, they're doing everything they can. They're doing everything you can think of to keep those minor parties, reforming parties, out of the public attention, out of any momentum that they can have. So this is the reality that we have here in our party, and we should be honest when we address it. Jill Stein, she gained about 1% of the vote, maybe a little bit more. But that 1% has been doing nothing in our politics. They talk about getting the message out. Well, getting the message out is not changing the politics, is not reforming the country. Unless you get in the position of power and change it, there's no point of getting your message out. We should learn from what happened with the Bernie campaign. So he was one of the most powerful candidates. There's no dispute about it in this election. And look what has happened to his ideas, his policies. So what has happened to them? They disappeared because he is not the one who is in the power. So he can like promote them and implement them. So if you are the reformer and you're not in the position of power, so don't rely on someone else that he's gonna do the same thing that you want to do. And just trying the idea of pushing the Democrats, which is, I think, Howie's our front runner, and most likely he would be the nominee unless we do something about it. Right. So his idea is pushing Democrats towards some green values. Well, pushing has never fully worked. Has never done anything, has never changed anything. Our country is now collapsing. If we talk about the economy, about the social structure that we have, our foreign policy, nuclear weapons, it is getting to a very dangerous levels with these treaties that we are withdrawing from. These things are very dangerous. So we need to grab the power and change them. Well, talking about pushing them, we're not scaring anyone. We're not scaring the Democrats. And this is an issue when we talk only about Democrats. We should talk about the whole country. In 2016, do you know how many millions didn't vote? Does any one of you know?
What was it? It's like 64% of eligible voters didn't vote. Yeah, no one would have won the entire election if it was an option.
Yes. So 60 about 64 millions of the votes went to Hillary. 64 went to Trump, and the amount of the people that didn't vote was 90 million. We're talking about registered voters who opted in into the system, but they didn't see that there is any motive to vote. 90 million people. And those 130 million people who voted Democrat and Republican, I think maybe half of them, if they saw a viable option, another option, they would go there.
Right.
So this is the reality of the situation. The Americans now, they don't trust politics. They don't want to vote.
No.
And the reality of our current elections is nobody's paying attention to our candidates, and they're not likely to put their hopes on our nominee,
Right. Well,
unless we can get someone who's already wanted by the public.
well,
You know,
let
let me touch
go
on
ahead,
one
go ahead.
point here.
Go
So
ahead.
we are only less than 5 months from the general elections, right? At this point, we should have seen people joining the Greens, trying to make a movement. We didn't see that. Even from the Bernie people, they decided to start their own party instead of going to the Greens.
Well,
You should ask
right.
why.
Right. And that's the key part, and it's to point out, I mean, look at here, like the Ventura people, there's a whole huge wave of people that will come right now, and the vibe, the energy, these people they understand what the fuck's going on. They pay attention and they ask questions. And those that are on board, well, first of all, they see Ventura. You know, it's just a different type of people. And I just wanted to point out what you said. Jesse calls himself a statesman. Like, he doesn't run to lose. He runs to win. That's the whole point. So if we were to offer him the nomination, he's going to run to fucking win. And he's only going to run to win if he believes he's going to win. And everybody says, "Oh, he's always talks about it. I say, well, then let's check him then. Let's force him to say no, basically, because even with offering him the nomination, the Green Party would get so much traction, so much press for it.
And let's now not
Well,
rely
well,
on
let's-
what he said
Let's
about himself.
let's
Let's
go say
stop there, if you don't mind.
Well, let's let Richard, since he's here on behalf of the Venturians. Tell us how you felt coming into the party, what you see as like the issues, what's the vibe, like what are the dynamics that you're dealing with coming from your space?
Well, one of the analogies that we've liked to use when we're talking on the Discord servers, we call it like DNC light, because it's the same sort of like purity testing kind of nonsense that the DNC was pulling on like the Bernie coalition, right? Like, oh, you're not a real Democrat, you're not a real Green. But at the same time, now we see the campaign manager for Hawkins on Twitter telling us to just go get independent ballot access and run that way, which is like, okay, you're going to turn away 8,000 plus people that want to join the party that needs a new grassroots movement to kind of inject some momentum. And you're going to turn away a candidate that could help circumvent the media blackout on third parties because he's already got name recognition. Like that, there's a lot of practical reasons to go with somebody who's got both his background and his record of success, right? And as far as that's gone, there's been a fair amount of opposition, namely from like folks in leadership who, I mean, to be quite honest, probably feel like their positions are threatened. And I mean, they wouldn't be threatened if they just saw like the practical nature of broadening the coalition of the party, right? No one's out to get anybody fired if we're all on the same page. Like, I feel like we all endorse the same policies largely. We're all on the same platform. It's just about putting our best foot forward so that progressives have a coalition with ballot access this cycle instead of having to wait 2 or 4 more years for a new party. Like, it's just wasted time when we've got 12 years left before climate change is supposed to, be irreversible? You know? So it's probably more like 9. Like, let's step it into gear, people, you know? We like to wait till the last minute.
Well, I mean, it's like, and we're killing ourselves too right now. And he says it too. This is what Jesse says: is the polarization is going to continue, and that's the truth. The third party, and see, this is why I looked at the Green Party too, the four pillars, and it should be the place where you can have these discussions, where dissent is encouraged, where you're taught how to have political discourse, how to work out issues, how to look at an issue, because issues are the most important, are the root issues, because what the establishment does is it makes us focus on the result, the symptom of the disease, rather than looking at the root. The root is what causes the output that all cultures, all individual identities deal with. Or it's different to whichever identity you're part of. So I mean, there's where identity politics are important to understand. Like, there are certain cultural things, stereotypes that are there to understand a whole culture, I guess, but you still have to understand the nuance and the subcultures that make up that large culture. But see, what happens is our media and our propaganda machine is they tend to, of course, write the narrative and create what people are supposed to think about you or think about whatnot. And they're the ones that pick the issues that apply to whichever side. So you pick or choose those boilerplate issues, and that decides what leaning you have. So I don't know if you guys want to say anything more, but I figured if you want, we could start through this Jimmy Dore video.
Well, there's one more thing I would like to go back to. When we talk about comparing Howie as a nominee and Jesse in terms of creating this attraction to the party, to this hope of change. When we just want to compare that, so Howie has been campaigning for a year now. Jesse just expressed his interest in running, and he polled 18% of the vote. This is a huge sign of the people's will. The people want something, and I don't fathom the idea that the Green Party is not giving the people what they want. That's 18%. This is a huge, it's not 1%, this is 18%. Can you imagine 18%? And most of these people will come with energy, with hope to change. And when Richard talked about the petition and 8,000 people coming in the party, those 8,000 people are grassroots activists. Those people who want to steer things. They're not just.
Oh, it looks like we all froze. All right. Let's go into Jimmy Dore here. Figured we could. Let me frame this out, fellas. Make it easier.
Happen without polls. You can help run a.
All right, let's run out.
Community and paid for.
The best way the Green Party. Fortunately, they didn't give me a clear path to nomination. I don't know if you heard the poll by one of the major poll companies, and it was played on Fox News, listing Biden, Trump, and me, and without even being a candidate, 18%.
Yeah, people are ready for someone like you. People are, we're being offered Trump light, and Trump, that's what's happening. Again, it's plain to see bear one part rule. In fact, how they handled this COVID, also the stimulus bills, the CARES Act, it completely revealed one party rule. As Nancy Pelosi ripping up Donald Trump's State of the Union speech, she's passing the entire legislative agenda, including money for his border wall, extra $131 billion to go bomb people. So,
yeah, no, correct, and it was unfortunate situation because I had people questioning whether I belonged with the Green Party, and that's what went on underneath the thing, and I thought, what do you mean belong? And I forwarded and everything will set enough.
Now,
major issues, and all the rest of my book are fairly. Those are two major issues, and that was one of the reasons I libertarians, because they don't believe in climate change. I think that how can you not believe in it? It's happening right before your eyes.
right. I mean, yeah. So I just want to make sure that I'm hearing information about the path inside the Green Party, and when the party was contacted by individuals interested, this is from an email I was sent by someone interested in helping Jesse explore the nomination process, party insiders conspired to stack the PCSC and other committees against any nomination but their chosen one. He pointed out on Galloway's show that the he was working with couldn't give a pathway to the nomination. The governor has been misled. So, do you have anything to say in response?
Well, if it's in clear path, I'll take it a step further. Right now, I'm in the midst of medical in my family, and I would have announced this to me. I would have immediately lost my job and immediately lost my care. And I think that in today's day,
I have lost stream for a second. Let me see. It says live warning. Stream.
Folks are saying it's like kind of clipped. I know, and restarted completely, or not on YouTube, on Facebook. Sorry.
On Facebook. Okay. It looks on the establishment knows. Establishment knows.
Right. Wired Ethernet Wi-Fi. That's true. I'm always wired in.
Well, I guess I should have wired. I have problems. So.
Well, I don't, but I'll make one.
Still skipping one. Let's see what we got here. All right, we're going live again. Oh, shit's really choppy. Okay. They really got us. They really got do I have wire? Morning. It said something about switching. Okay. I did maybe I did wrong. No, this is not right. Oh, it's offline now. All right, we're gonna have to go back. Hello, is everyone still out there?
Looks like we still got folks on YouTube.
All right, excellent connection now.
I mean, I do have Comcast, but I'm also on Bay Area internet, so it's kind of like maybe that cancels out.
I think we're live again. Can hear you. Okay, fine. All right. This is what I got to say too. For all of you Chelsea Mannings, John Kiriakus, Edward Snowdens, all you cats in our intelligence agencies, and our law enforcement that believe in truth and justice, and you're needing that push. This is we're here for you. You know, we need your help too. Make sure you take care of us, because we're going into some dangerous motherfucking territory, and I just want to say that. So, and it just made me think about that meme of the stick figure on the internet, where it said it was the FBI agent, and it said he was looking at the internet search history, and it said, "My FBI agent's a hoe," or something like that. I don't know. It made me laugh. I'll find it. It was funny. Anyways, what we were talking about before, or I wanted to stop the clip anyways. Ventura said something about, they said if he wasn't green, you know, that people were saying that you're not green enough. And this is something that Richard's dealt with, that everybody's been dealing with, that, I mean, I've dealt with. You're not green. Oh, you just joined, or how many meetings have you been to? I mean, even I got Howie Hawkins, like when we called him out for the corruption shit in Chicago. You know, he's like, "Where did you come from? You know, where's your chapter? You're full of shit, man. You're full of shit."
Yeah.
You know,
You can't simultaneously want to grow a grassroots movement and belittle anyone who's new who joins. Like that, it's nonsense to do both of those things.
Well, it's contradictory. You know, it really doesn't make sense. I mean, the whole point is they want people to get in line and do as they're told, and so that's kind of how you see the reward system. So and you know, Ibra said it before, like, well, why aren't people joining? You know, why? Ask the question. You know, look at how they've rewarded Andrea, right? So she destroyed Colorado, everything. I mean, she came out of what the Democrats. She got pretty much kicked out for using funds to do all sorts of weird shit, and here she comes and is rewarded with all these things, and no one, and there's nothing, zero accountability for anything. They use the decentralization as, oh, well, the states could do what they want, but you're all signed on to the same national party. You know, you all still have to abide by rules, you know, by the you know, you know, by the structure. I mean, the whole point of umbrella and being a federation. So I don't know. What do you guys want to say about that? Did you guys experience? What's your experience, I guess, of how you've been treated?
Well, let me speak first, because I've been with the Greens. I'm active, like doing like stuff. Anyhow, maybe longer than Richard. Um, so the idea of decentralized Green Party is true. If you go to the Green Party in California, is different than Oregon, and it's different than Wisconsin, it's different than Michigan. So it is true. It is very decentralized, and it works like the federation of the states. How do we have like federation here in the country, states and federation, federal level government? So it's the same thing. Every Green Party has its own constitution, its own bylaws. So that part of the argument is very true, and we should applaud it. This is grassroots democracy.
Well,
and we're fine with it,
right,
but the
right,
treatment, we talk about the treatment. Usually we're talking about like a specific people who think that they own the party, which is in itself not very problematic most of the time. But I believe what drives people out of the party is the lack of action, the lack of results. People come to the Green Party wanting something and they don't find it. They want change. They don't want to be part of a political club discussing issues. This is not what they want. They have activism groups that they can go to and be part of them. But when they come to the Green Party, they are coming to a political group. They want something from it, which is having results, changing things. people are desperate about the economy, so they come here and they want to get a fair economy. They want to change the country to get a fair economy, which they're not getting. This is the the most important factor, I think. It's not about the treatment, but sometimes it is true. People are different
Right. Well,
with each other.
well, when I say about that, it has to do with the way you're treated. I mean, like what the vibe, the energy, the culture of what the party, of how you interact, how people are invited, how can they offer their services, how they're engaged. That's a big part of it, because nobody wants to come to a place where they're not heard, or they're not even able to ask questions, because you want to make it easier for people to get educated on issues. You don't want to say, oh, well, you don't think this yet. We have to understand that people are at different timelines and different parts of this, and we're supposed to be ahead of the curve because of who the Greens are. So that's kind of how I looked at it. But the decentralization, now let me be clear. Like the principle of what you're saying is right, that every state should have a thing just like that. But we have to realize it's the same thing of the problem with our just like the country, is there's not proportional representation, because all it takes is for a few people to be on these certain committees, and you see what they can do and the narrative they can do. For the thing about the GPUS, the National Party, it's the face of the party. It's what connects everything. So if you have control of the National Party, you have control of the narrative, you have control of the purse strings, basically, because, I mean, for instance, you say that Jill Stein didn't, they didn't really grow the party. Well, look at what they've done the last few years. They've been running this Greenway forward on her page. David Cobb and our now communications director, Michael O'Neill. That's all they've been doing. She's been doing her fireside chat, their content, using their influence, but that shit's been being shared on our national page, is our stuff, and they're being promoted. But every time it's being watched, it doesn't go towards our things. It doesn't. So what I've come to see is what they're protecting is the National Party, because the presidential race is how you raise money. And this is one thing about Ventura they probably don't like, is because he's not about raising money. His whole thing he talks about when he ran is that he only raised $300,000, and he paid for his own gas. He paid a few people for whatever, but he said most of it was on TV ads. And that's what I'm trying to say now, is you don't even have to do that with independent media. We could fucking rock and roll. And we would talk about this earlier, but we can get to that too. Like strategy wise, but I just wanted to make that point, is that decentralization is right, but it can be used in a setting to try to escape any accountability, because they keep putting things off on states when you're still bound by these bylaws and these rule sets that everyone's supposed to. That's the whole point of being a federation. You still have a central, a national party. That's the whole point. So they've just used it. They weaponized it to, oh, well, I have nothing to do with that state. But all they get their people on these committees, and then there's like some of these people are on like 5 different committees, and they're making decisions for everything. So then you have a group of 30 people on the PCSC that are making this for the whole thing, for the whole presidential thing, and all Hawkins had to do was stack their PCSC, which is what Andrea said back in 2018 about stacking. Well, Brendan Phillips, our ballot access coordinator, said, well, it's time to load up. And then she said that we got to get some rational people on the PCSC. Well, rational people in her book means that we don't give a fuck about truth and justice. It's about what they want. It's money. I mean, look, go ahead.
Sometimes, yeah. Well,
you
mentioned a lot of things, but there's one point that people need to understand. To understand what's the Green Party, how it is structured. The Green Party doesn't have a lot of financial resources. So when we go to national committees, all of those people are volunteers. They don't get any money, not hired. So they take from their own time sometimes and give it to the party, and I'm thankful for them I'm grateful they kept the party for 30 years. So the point of having one guy on 5 different committees, it's expected, because we don't have a lot of people willing to take their time, to take from their own time and put to the party. So this is accepted in that way. What is not accepted, on the other hand, is using these positions, using the connections, using the advantageous factor of being an all-time green, a long-time green, to not be fair with treating other candidates, other newcomers, other new people wanting to change things coming to the Green Party. This is not ethical, yes, but just the mere of being on different positions, that's the reality of the Green Party. We don't take any corporate money. We don't take any money from rich people. So this is acceptable and understandable. But it is only the point that those people, most of them have been there for a long time, and they feel it is something that they built, they established, and it is hard sometimes to let someone who they don't know to be treated like someone who they know. But this is democracy, and we should not be accepting such treatment, such attitude and behavior.
Right. Richard, anything to add there? I know we're.
I mean, the main takeaway from that, democracy is not a clubhouse, right? So you got people knocking on the door, either open up or people are going to move on, right? And no more of this campaigning on we need 5% if you're going to turn people away when they want to join the party, because it's never going to happen.
Right. I mean, that's pretty much. You sure sum it up really nice. Really nice. We're fucking talking this whole time, and just that's it right there. That's the point. That's the point.
You're welcome.
So thank you guys for watching all of us talk. And then, but see, here's the thing and that brings up a good point. Is that's why it's good to have these discussions, because a lot of time everybody has these different pieces of the puzzle to understand. Well, first of all, somebody's character, what's going on, and then sharing the ideas and really talking it out helps formulate a real opinion. And we saw the other day, I don't know if you guys saw it. I mean, Susan, one of our other presidential candidates, wasn't even willing to look at the information. She felt like she could look at one thing and this is this person, this celebrity. Why didn't he do this? And even when we in 2018, when we tried to get the party excited, James Young, he sent out a letter, and that's the letter that Andrea responded to, which is funny. Is they said, oh no, he's a libertarian or he's this, and they sent back a link to some celebrity news site. It's like, really, that's the extent of your guys' research, and it's a bunch of snobs. I'm gonna listen. Everything Ibra's saying is right. And I like he gives them a softer feeling, a softer touch as far as they're human beings, because they are, but they're still asshole human beings, because they're treating people like shit. And for anyone to say that people don't have value, or values based upon bullshit metrics that they control, or insider group, or just what this little club thinks, is ignorant. It's just wrong. People have value to bring, and even if somebody's not in a position to say I'm a leader, or I'm the head of this or the face of this, you can still bring in your expertise or your thought or your perspective. And so for me, as a new green, is I didn't have all these long-time relationships. And what I've seen is that when you have long-time relationships, you ignore shit. You let things go. Oh, that's them being this way. You understand maybe what somebody thinks that they're feeling, but you're not acknowledging what they're representing of the party and how they're treating people. And that's something that, you know, people need to be treated with respect, you know. And if you don't like the way I treat you, then you should check on how you're representing yourself, because I'm just responding. And that's what I've been saying for me. But not everybody's like that. Most people just leave the party. They're like, fuck this. Why am I going to deal with this type of attitude for people that don't win, you know? And that's not to. So the thing is to be honest and have these discussions. It's not about trying to tear down the Green Party. So let's be clear. This is about building the Green Party. It's just about having an honest discussion about ourselves and to say, okay, yeah, we have good ideas, but we still have to present ourselves right. Art direction, all these things matter, and especially the way that you treat people. You have to have a cultural coup for a political coup, and you know, the Venturians for me, baby, they're just I'm loving the vibe and the energy, and I think we can pull this off. Let me just say that here. I think democracy can be had because we are a grassroots democracy. So if we had the wave of people come in, who are there? Who are they to say no? And the point is we're going to have to do the same thing. Say we succeed, and say Jesse does get the nomination. The Green Party as a whole decides, not me deciding, not Ibra, not anybody, one person, everybody deciding and getting on board together. If we do that, we're going to have the same problem winning in November too. Yes, because we know that there's mechanisms in place for them to fuck with shit. So we have to know that there's electoral vote too. These are things that we have to be able to represent democracy as far as the people, and flex our people muscles. If we don't flex our people muscles, you know, we're not going to get anywhere. And this gives us, I think, a precise thing. Again, you know, even if Ventura, you know, doesn't accept it, just offering him would completely change the trajectory of our party.
Well, there's an issue. If we don't offer him, what do you think the people would look at the party after that? If we don't offer it, that's problematic, because they know that we were able to offer it, at least open the door for the people to have a voice at the convention, but we don't do it. How many people would you think that will be disappointed with the party?
Well, I would hope people wake up at that point, right? Because seriously, every 4 years they wait until after the DNC primary when everyone's upset that the more conservative candidate won, and a bunch of people dem exit, or they think about it. They look at the Green Party. The Green Party's like, hey, vote for us. We want to hit 5% in the general, and then the next election we'll have a good candidate. And then nothing materializes. So then if you turn away a really great opportunity for that, like, and that's your central... Like they've had the petition up for months now. They're at like 139,000 out of 7 million required votes for 5%. I don't think Howie Hawkins is going to be what pushes them to that 7 million. It's probably going to be someone with name recognition backing the same platform. So just from a pragmatic perspective, it makes more sense for the party, and the people standing in the way. The only reasons that I can think of relate to either ego or incompetence, unless you want to start talking about sabotage, right? Nothing else really seems to make their actions make sense. Well, at least not in my book.
Well, and you made a good point there. Like what the Hawkins campaign has done is essentially rigged this whole process. That means keeping people off ballots, keeping people off debate, keeping the voting Republic to be able to engage in the party. They haven't promoted it. So when I say it's null and void, it's null and void because there wasn't an honest vote. There wasn't an honest opportunity. And so, you know, some people think that this is, and I saw in the comment too, it's about rigging the vote or whatnot. The whole point of the conversation is to say, is about people. I mean, either we have a wave of people that demand something in general. This is not about voting. This is not about the primary. The point is, it's not about the primary, but it is. The primary is a process. But the whole point is is what are we going to do? Like, let's have a real discussion. And we haven't had that. And that's not taken away from any candidate, not to say that candidates don't have value or don't need to be involved in the event that we as a party offer. Because that's what I'm saying is it's a party. And if we can have a wave of people join the party, then we've got the majority of the party and we are a grassroots democracy party. That's how I look at it. And these people know here, and they, like you said, even the pragmatic, you're going to get more votes. But that's the beautiful part about all of this is that's just the window dressing. That's the window dressing. Jesse's person, who he is, his heart, his vibe, his energy, what he's been able to do in his life, his accomplishments, his growth. He's been a mayor, he's been a governor, he's fought against the bullshit. He's beat them. He's won. And he believes in the values. He believes in the party. And he's been saying, I'll run. But you got to show me that you want it, that you'll do it. And this, I don't think people just get so, I know everybody says shit's crazy right now. Everything's fucked up. And, we got to, that's right. So, but you have to be smart about, okay, well, here's an opportunity to change all that. And to steal the fucking conversation, the narrative, because the narrative is everything. The narrative is everything. And by Ventura being on in front, a face, and that's what I'm saying. We're all going to be learning a lot about Ventura, even that we didn't know. But his character, for me, that's you have to know who he is. You have to see his interviews. You have to see him talk, what he cares about. He loves his wife. I hate to fanboy but it's not what it is. It's a model of it's Ventura vibe. That's why I keep going back to when people reach out to me. It's just. Go ahead. Somebody else. Go ahead.
I mean, part of it is just it's been so long since we've had honest politicians that having someone who is remotely honest has the ability to admit, hey, I need to improve on this and change my policy is like a tremendous breath of fresh air for people. Like I understand people think like, oh, there's a bit of a messiah complex going on. No, I'm in a completely pragmatic way. Like the only way you're going to get folks re-engaged in the political process at this point is to have a candidate who's got a little bit of charisma, because a lot of people are pretty much done, particularly after the Dem primary this year, where all of a sudden, oh, whoa, look at that. Oh, every single vote total now is flipped to Biden. Let's never talk about the exit polls unless they're the ones that are electronically adjusted that CNN has. People are sick of behind the scenes bullshit. So it'd be great to have a candidate that's not afraid to call that out. Just saying, rather than buying into it and parroting the Russiagate stuff. That's going to implicate the party again in the general. Anyways, we all see it coming. We're going to be labeled as spoilers if we vote green, even if it's people in majority Dem states. Anyways, like it's.
So there's a point we usually forget when we talk about Jesse versus Howie Hawkins. We talked about a lot of our problems that are happening in the country, and part of what is happening is the divisiveness between the left and right. Jesse, if he wants to run, he will get people from left and right. They know that they're gonna get an honest politician who would serve the people. He will get a lot of votes from both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
If you look at Howie even like the progressive Democrats, the progressive people, they don't lean toward them. They don't look for example, at the alternative progressive media, Primat Meg, Jimmy Dore, Ron Placon, and all of these things, all of these medias, and none of them is getting behind Howie. So the left is not united behind Howie. And if now, let me add one thing. You know, part of the media narrative that was weaponized against Bernie is being a socialist. So he's talking about socialist, social democracy, or whatever they call it. I don't know what does that mean. So he's not a real socialist. But on the other hand, let's like think how those people who got discouraged from Bernie because of the label, that label of socialism, those people, how would they welcome Howie Hawkins, who got the nomination or maybe endorsement from a real socialist party? So even the left will not get behind Howie. You could see it now. Nobody's coming to the party. Nobody's joining because of Howie. On the other hand, people are coming to the party, joining the party because of someone who's not even a candidate.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
and
joining the party because they don't want Howie. That's
there's your thing, is that the only way Howie is going to unite the left is against him. You know, I mean, that's the key point. Like, you're having people that are seeing what's going on. Even Primo's pissed because they've been treating him like shit too, and he's had all these people on his thing. I mean, people are coming to the party because they're tired of it. And I was seeing the thing, people do want a third party or another party or other parties, you know. And so the way that they frame it too is like, oh well, you know, they're trying to bring all these things together, and I'm all for more voices, right? I'm all for more options. That's the key. But the thing is if we're going to say we're a banner, we need to run under this banner and go hard. You know, this is the umbrella. You know, if you, like I say, if people want to come underneath that umbrella, cool. But you know, that's why for me, like with this whole affiliation rule, because everybody needs to know that what the real rigging has gone down has to do with this. One of them, the ballot rigging came through this official recognition process that the PCSC gives out, the Presidential Campaign Support Committee. What happens is one of the rules is that you can't be a registrant, which is being registered, or otherwise party member, which means otherwise party members for the states that don't have ballot access for a national or state level political party, unless it's for the purpose of joining the Green Party or you're affiliated with the Green Party. And so again, it covers registered and non-registered Green parties. So what they've done is given him this recognition status, and that recognition status itself is only for metrics for the PCSC to give out resources, has been used and weaponized to prevent myself and other candidates from being on ballots, which is essentially rigging the ballots. And of course, who's on some of these things are people that are connected to the Hawkins campaign. And again, our communications director was sharing this eco-socialism event, and it was specifically done an unofficial party to not have people invited because other candidates wanted to go. And actually Dario went to that. And then of course Hawkins went, but they shared that content on our Green Party main page. They tweeted it out. And see, that's what they do. That's how they qualify their candidates. It's just like the establishment. They do the narrative. When you control the thing, you write the narrative. And that's what they're having a hard time right now. So let me just say that thank you everyone that's been going hard. You're not going hard enough, but you're going hard, and I appreciate it, and we all appreciate it. Or let me just say it: we're gonna have to turn it up. You are going hard. Let me make sure you guys get the props. Point. And you're helping break through the narrative, and that was the difference between if Aaron Fox and then Justin Beth Austin were in charge of the Ventura. None of this momentum, none of this vibe, none of this energy would be able to take place because they are gatekeepers. And whether or not Justin does it on purpose. And to me, at this point, Aaron may be that incompetent that, you know, that just may be, and maybe that's why Justin Beth put him in charge or introduced him to do that. And I'm speculating there, but point being is, I mean, Jesse Ventura, and you don't know how to use a phone, you don't know how to record, you don't know how to get a microphone, you know, to really stream. I mean, I keep going back into it, but point is if that's all this stuff hadn't happened the way it happened, it wouldn't have set this open and opened this door. And you guys are defeating this narrative that they've tried to put out, and it's working. And we have 2 weeks from today, 2 weeks to 2 weeks from yesterday, because everybody needs to make sure that they're sweating bullets on that Friday night. We want to make sure Howie Hawkins and even Dario, all these people are sweating bullets, because it seems like Dario still thinks that because he got second place in delegate count in a rigged primary that he's due the thing. Everybody thinks that they are, and my thing is, well, we had talked about it last time, or Ian said it, as an idea to redo it, whether we do an online vote or a mail-in vote. And I say we fuck it, we do it anyways. If you guys want to do postcards, fucking mail of Jesse vote to the Green Party National post office in Washington. You however you can put pressure on these people. Maybe that's the way we could do it.
Email their public email addresses on the GP USA websites, right?
Right.
That's an idea.
And then your state parties, go to your state parties, parties Facebook pages. There's tons of them. The GP discussion page, go to that. Go reach out to these people. Tweet this shit to your state party. If you want to start with your state party and move on, there are official Twitters. Now, if you're tweeting this stuff out and then you get blocked, that's how you know you've struck a nerve. And then we're going to
document it too. Screenshot it,
document it. So let's start pointing out and figuring out who these corrupt people are.
And then send it to us. We're collecting a whole file of that stuff. You can send it to let's send it to hello@draftjesse.com. That's usually the one folks send stuff to. We've got a contact us form too, but you can't really attach files to that, but it sends to that email.
So awesome. So that, again, that way we're organizing and to see who are the people. Because remember that democracy means grassroots. Democracy means the people. And if we need to show each individual state in a certain way, in a certain format with signatures or postcards or posts, however you want to do it, there's a lot of ways to do it. That's the key. And again, if they do block you, that's how you know you're getting through. And you just got to go harder. And let's say once we know, then it gives us an idea of what's happening. Because that's for me, again, coming into the party, I had more of a bird's eye view, macro perspective, because I didn't have these relationships with these people. I was able to automatically see the dirt and the attitude. Because here's the thing, everybody says run green, run green, run green, run green until you run for president. And then it was a very strange, well, it wasn't, I guess it's strange, but it surprising to be hit with all that. You just get a better perspective of how all these states work and why shit's not working, why it's not. And we have to rely on the people, the people. Again, the people are going to have to make the decision in November too, because we decide, that's it. We decide. And we have to focus and learn how to focus our energy together and at one time and real specific. And that's what I'm hoping we can do here. Cause if we really build this, like we need to, we could make some shit happen. Anybody guys, anything else to say there? The California primary has passed. You guys, should we ask some questions or see what everybody's saying real quick while we're?
Well, there is a point that we need to raise because I don't think that you've talked about it in the last video and today's video, which is the argument that it is not fair for the for everyone who voted in the primary to let someone like Jesse, someone famous, and comes in and give him the ticket. But let me stress one point. I don't know how many people voted in total in the primaries, in the nomination conventions. I don't think that they can reach 8,000 that 9,000 now. So the participation was very poor, and we know that. And on the other hand, we have 9,000 people petitioning to have him. If we just announce that Jesse Ventura is an option now, and we need to know how many supporters for Jesse, I think the GB website will crash from the. No, I'm serious. Will crash because a lot of people would jump in and say we want Jesse. This is a huge thing. And so the argument of it's not fair for who voted, I believe half of those who voted would have voted for Jesse if he was on the ballot. Maybe more than half. Maybe 90%. If the idea of Jesse was presented in the early stages.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
there's some logic there to
people would
squash
say,
too.
Well,
some people would raise that it's not fair. People has been campaigning for months, and he just jumped in, like circumventing the process. Let me ask a question: why do we have this process? To organize, to be able to achieve.
Well, let me.
So the goal is achieving.
Well, let me. Okay, so let me just let's get Jesse Ventura's first his strategy out of the way, because this is the same strategy he used when he ran for governor. He said this on Primo thing. He said this back in 2019. And I have a audio clip of Justin Beth saying that he spoke to Jesse Ventura back in 2019. So the PCSC knew his whole thing. So what he said, he's going to wait till the Pikers are down, wait till it's down to a couple people, and he was talking about the Democrats and Republicans. So you're not eating up the media. We listened to this the other night, the media attention. So what happens was when he came in, if Justin Beth, of course, he was in the ear of Aaron Fox and put him in there for a reason. If they were honest with him about what was going on, then they really could have disrupted Howie getting these to this certain point. And what the states had to do was they had to go and disqualify other states from, and then they lowered the delegate count. And then you even had some states that not even putting anybody on there. So like some of these things are, and they're even going for the Democratic Party, or they're basically going for Trump. They don't want to mess things up for Biden or whatnot. Whatever it was.
You can't forget the most important thing, right? So Dario says he got the second most number of votes. So if we discount Howie, he should win. But if he was the only other candidate who was able to qualify for ballot access consistently, of course he's going to be the second person, the person with the second most votes, right? If the process itself to get on the ballot was tainted, you can't just count the votes as is. If we're going to go by votes, we need to redo the votes, which, like, with the 15,000 people that have voted in the primary, seems like an online vote in one day could be doable. And if you put Jesse Ventura on that ballot, I'd put my money on him winning, especially with the campaigning we've been doing. It's...
And see,
that argument doesn't hold up to scrutiny.
Well, the thing is you have to understand what the insiders, Justin Beth, and how the PCSC has lied to him, and it, he had this plan. So first of all, that plan works. You can disrupt enough votes to force it to the second round, and to force it even as an exploratory, to say, hey, I'm here and I'll run and I'll get you guys what you want. So
convention rules are formality. They're not legally binding, right? Like the Libertarians have nominated 2 presidential candidates in a cycle multiple times because they can't agree on one at the convention. So like if Howie's friends in New York want to take their ball and go home, we can get independent access there and the rest of the party could coalesce, like things like that can happen. And just people need to understand that like the grassroots movement should outweigh the egos of a couple of people in charge.
Right. Well, and I was trying to point out is that even in the process, Jesse Ventura's thing worked, because all he had to do was come in these last couple months and look at he got 8 delegates, and which proves that the official recognition process is only for an insider metric. You could still win the nomination, even with Howie being a member. he could. I think he could win the nomination. But the thing is, it's the official recognition when he gave it to him, and then they use that as a weapon to rig the ballots. That's where the election fraud came in. That's where
and taking write-in as an option off of state ballots, right? Because as a draft campaign, if he's not officially declared and they don't put him on, and there have just been instances where there's no write-in option on the ballot. And I get it's like a state-by-state thing, but that seems pretty lousy in a party that's based off of grassroots movements to not just universally accept write-ins.
Well, right. My point is that even with the process, he could have forced it to go to the second round with his strategy. He could have waited because, and here's what's happened. It would be different if our party promoted this primary. They didn't even promote it. Zero, zip, none. I think they shared one of our debates in Indiana, the last one that the Black Caucus put on. Everything else was pretty much done by actually Sednam, what kind of pushed the things to happen. And then we were talking about this earlier. The point is exactly why this whole time when they were putting people on the ballots and doing stuff like that, and they weren't promoting it, they weren't having debates, they weren't trying to get people engaged in the primary. Why was Dario silent during that whole time? And so he tries. See, this is what Dario does, and I'm going to just point this out real quick why we're here, because Dario spoke out on the exclusion before he had his official recognition because he was excluded from certain things. And then after he got his official recognition, he didn't sign on to the group things because it wasn't affecting him. Well, through this whole process, even in October, first of all, September, that eco-socialism event that was put on by Hawkins people, to ecosocialist.org, whatever it is, he was invited to that. No other candidates were. So Idaho came around. He actually campaigned or went on a campaign stop or whatever with Hawkins in October. He was on the Idaho debate, telling people that they were, divisive, talking about this and saying that I don't agree with everything Hawkins, but basically kissing his ass. And then, if you're really fighting, if you really see what's going on, this corruption, you're not going to be silent. And if you're a real leader, you could have stepped up and say, hey, these people should be on the ballots too. Period. If I'm going to lose, I'll lose. I don't mind losing, but I'm going to, it's because it's not, I don't mind. Well, first of all, I don't mind.
It's like a Liz Warren kind of vibe,
Right. So
just a player in the game.
So that's where it wasn't till, well, first of all, we were in this chat, right, with Ohio. Ohio said they were only going to have the official recognized candidates and the candidates that were on the California ballot. Well, I wasn't on the California ballot because I didn't go through the whole extra process because Sednam, Dennis, and David were left off, and they had already filed with FEC that part and went through that stuff. And for me, you don't have to file with the FEC till you even raise $5,000. And I was trying to show people what you can do without raising a dime. Like Howie raised $200,000. And he can't even deal with me. He
polls at 0% nationally.
$200,000, I would have fucked some shit up. And how did he get the $200,000? He got it by having the party's resources and having all these people in these official positions. And one of the other thing is he had those kids from Senator Gravel's campaign send out a thing saying, "Hey, donate to Howie Hawkins." You remember that, right? That was when Gravel had his little momentum going.
Oh, yeah.
And then, that's what Primo Nutmeg released. Like, it was this big ordeal. It was like Gravel said, I don't even know who that is. I barely know him. He's got some emails, but I didn't even read it. So it's like, back to what I was saying is the Ohio, we were talking about this in this conversation, in this chat message. And the only time Dario really said anything was because he was left off the North Carolina ballot. That was true. But that's all he cares about. He had nothing to say about all the other candidates. Well, until Nico House's interview. But, and I should pull it up, just to pull it up, and I'll see if I can find it. So Sednam, right, called him out at the Ohio debate and said, why weren't you, excluded? Howie stood up and basically said, I'm going to go along with what the states say, real get in line. I'm your puppet kind of talk. And I think Dario just refused to answer, pass, or no comment, or something like that. I'll see if I can find that. But it's like that right there's your opportunity, and you could show your leader. You could show your leader. You could have won. You had the support. You had these people, but why were you not willing to be honest about what's going on at the time when it mattered? You know, when candidates right there were being, you know, one of the guy was trying to kick us out of the Ohio debate. Like, well, first of all, Anita Rios is one of the people that put on this eco-socialism event, and she was the co-chair of Ohio. And so she didn't want me up there because I called her out in September when they did it. You know, so it just goes to show that they weren't really wanting anybody to catch on to this primary. They were going to wait it out and wait to the very end, or well, at least maybe that was Dario's strategy. To me, that's just coward shit. You know, all this time's going on. You have to win by keeping other people off the ballot. Like that's the way you win. So when you guys get a chance too, watch Dario's. Watch the way he doesn't answer a direct question. And remember, the guy is an Ivy League lawyer, and he's a former everything. If you notice, when he opens up, he says, "I'm a former this, former that." He never stays anything for too long. And these are pretty heavy duty. You know, being a lawyer, environment, you don't like you need like years and years, like going into. I don't know how you can be a former all this shit and really have mastered stuff, but he's mastered the political talk and how you don't answer correct directly. You use what's it called? What's that phrase?
Deflection.
There's a word. Let me see what that word is. I wrote it down.
Well, let me touch on a point here. So I explained how Howie is not bringing in new people to the people, right? I explained how people prefer to not vote to anyone instead of coming to the party and building it. What would you think would happen if people started learning about those things that you've been talking about? And I know I don't agree with all of what you've said. Sometimes you use terms like corruption, rigging the economy, fraud. The primary and the fraud. So I'm conservative on using these terms. But there are like few things that really happened. And some of them, like his response to Russiagate. So on one occasion, he would go and give details about it, and on another one he would say, "I was hungry and wasn't focused, so maybe I misspoke." I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he thinks that people are really that easy to fool. They know that he's trying to just cover up what he said. I don't know the leadership when they think about Howie being the nominee. Do they think that they will attract people instead of losing people? You know, now the establishment is not focusing on the Greens. What would happen if they start like focusing on the Howie and uncovering these videos, these talks, and some practices that came from his campaign? That would destroy the party.
The New York Times did an article about him when he ran for governor, and they literally began by like pointing out that he was 0-23 and like a serial loser of elections. So that I would expect that to be the kind of coverage to see in mainstream media.
And you know what?
What would they think?
Well, you know what?
Let's destroy the party.
And you know what? Right?
Why
you say that? Let's just go this real quickly. Everyone, we should give Howie an award. I mean, an award. Credit where credit's due. He is probably our biggest loser in the Green Party. He's probably lost more races than anybody. So, Howie, you are number one at something. So thank you for all your years of service.
He doesn't believe in electoral politics.
Well, he doesn't.
in his academic works.
Oh, well, and that's the whole thing is they keep saying he's the founder of the party. He's not the fucking founder of the party. He's not the fucking
founder. He's part
founder.
of a sect that joined the party, right?
Well, he's part of that they invited that group, the Clamshell Alliance, and he went on behalf of them. Not and here's the thing. He said what I brought to that meeting is I don't think that we should build a party out of a presidential campaign. And I look at it as actually that's how you're supposed to do it, because that's when everybody's got their eyeballs on political parties. That's
Let me interject. Jamal Baraka all the time, for maybe 4 years, have been talking about how because of Obama, a lot of people exited the Democrats, and he talked about how many seats they have been losing since Obama won his second term. So this is a known fact that the president would affect everyone under that umbrella of the party. And they're talking about there's no effect. That's very weak.
The right, what happened is, so Obama took office and then the right organized like an astroturfed like right-wing movement, the Tea Party, and that kind of took over a lot of the narrative, and the Dems are not appealing when they fail to deliver. So it's understanding that people kind of latch on to that. And to be honest, all these folks who think that we can wait until 2024, I'm a little nervous that something similar will happen. We had Justin Amash toying around with taking the Libertarian nomination. That dude gets Koch brothers money. At that point, if the third party ends up being libertarians that are backed by billion-dollar donors, is the third party really a third party? And how fractured is the progressive movement going to be if we have the People's Party, the Movement for the People's Party, the Green Party in 2022, 2024? We need to coalesce. So it's just like, we really need to think about public image. Like the Dems take shit for focusing too much on image because they don't have good policies. We have good policies, so we need the image. The concerns are not the same in terms of how to build the party versus reforming the Dems. Reforming the Dems is no longer focused on the superficial. For the Greens, we need people looking at the party. That's the big issue right now.
And what's the best way to do it?
Chad, you're muted.
Oh, and what's the best way to do it? Like this is the best fucking way to do it. And here's the thing, and you can break them down, right? Like this, that's one part of it, is getting the attention. That's just one part of it. There is the policy, there's the person, there's the record. There's different parts of this. The pragmatic part, I don't think anybody can deny. One of the things people do, and even Susan did it with the whole, they go to this celebrity thing because somebody's well known. But it's like if you guys were so good at what you were fucking doing, why aren't you known for what you're doing? And then what happens when you're known? So yeah, I was gonna say, do you guys want to read some comments and see what everybody's thinking and see where anybody have any thoughts?
I didn't respond to Susan before, but I think I should now. Well, why people who are very interested in policies like anti-war, single-payer healthcare, some environment issues, are focusing on Jesse and want Jesse? Does she think that he's just a celebrity and we don't know what he's for? We support, personally, I support Jesse because he's strong, even stronger than Howie on anti-war and foreign policy. Howie...
You want to bomb Syria?
Well, he wants to continue the presence in Syria. He didn't explain a lot, and it is illegal and under the international law. Anyhow, when we talk about Russia and he promotes some sort of narrative that being pushed by Democrats that could endanger us into a nuclear war, and maybe take this Cold War between us and Russia to a new level. So this is what the result of believing in Russia. And so if he a nominee and people looking at him and listening to videos from before, watching some videos from before, and seeing him promoting a game that was being pushed by Democrats, would they follow him? Would they follow him? Absolutely not. So we know that Jesse is good on these issues. And when we talk about his policies, we know what we want and why we want him, because he can deliver. Unlike any other candidate, let's be real here.
I mean, I know I'm coming in a second close, but yeah.
You're not getting the nominee. I think if you get the nominee, you will create some waves, but a lot of discussions, maybe you'll make noise.
Well,
you're not gonna win,
there's just no.
You'll make some noise.
There's just no. I mean, there's no comparison. No comparison.
Yeah, I
and
know.
see, well, here's the thing: is me coming in is I realize a lot of this has to do with the social media presence, the way that we present ourselves, the how open we are to accept people, and that's the problem. We've seen that. So I thought, okay, well, coming in and looking at all these different resources that we have, because they have influence. Everybody knows who they are. They've got all these connections. People donate money. That's like, but it's been turned into a fundraising thing and a job for these people. This is how people make their living, rather than allowing it to grow and explode. I mean, Michael O'Neill, our communications director is the corniest guy that could be running a national party. The corny of the corniest white boys you will ever meet. And I mean, I saw this. I mean, it's just your presentation. It's not even to even be mean or negative. It's more of a positive thing. Hey, you got to check how you present yourself. And I'm not saying I'm the best or presenting it, but I mean, coming in, there is a level of content making that I'm the only one that has really done. I feel like Hawkins stuff is, again, it's more. It's just a formula. People they're saying what they're supposed to say. What they're checking off the list. The talking points, rather than being creative. So I knew that coming in, for me to even make any waves would have to be through. I mean, that's why I'm running for the nomination, because the nomination gives you the reins, basically, for the resources. So I saw it from that perspective, and to try to create a way for people to come in, because I can't even go to the people that I know and the influences that I have, because I mean, I'm embarrassed to try and tell somebody come to a party that's going to treat you like shit. Like I mean, really, like you literally have to, you almost have to be. So I've had to always preface everything like, oh, there's some shit going down, but we're working on it. And I tell you what, the Venturians, I keep saying it, baby, but they fucking are rocking and rolling. And you guys, again, give you guys props. I want to keep that there. I wanted to.
Someone pointed out Dario as VP in the YouTube chat as like an olive branch kind of thing. I was thinking about that for a while, but like we've tried to reach out to him, and all he says to us is when Jesse declares, or he'll say it should be whoever gets the most amount of democratically elected votes, while ignoring all the disputes about the process. He's clearly pining for like a VP nod or something, and so again, a player in the game, but it's a bad look. Like if he wants to come to us in earnest, we've reached out several times. We're like, we should all coalesce to try and stop the corruption in the primary. And
I mean, at least have the conversation, right? Like, I mean, that was the whole conversation. Here's an option for us, and what's in it for all of us is a lot more than people are going to get if any one of us individually win the nomination, because we're opening up a door for people to have some place to go. And not only that, is we're setting a precedent of what a party should be. Like, we're leaders. We're supposed to say we're we are wanting to take our country back, or we never really had it. You know, we're trying to take control of the people. So it's weird. Politics is weird, and you know, this isn't about me. You know, and I was hoping. See, I liked Dario from the beginning. I liked Dario when I first started watching or whatnot of the primary, and I liked Ian. You know, Ian to me is sharp as hell, and he's a cat that they fucked up by. He's the kind of guy you want to help grow, because he actually, you know, he speaks in a way that's not in the vernacular of me. You know, I'm like, you know, shit, fuck, motherfucker. You know, you know, he does his thing right. I don't know. I fuck with him. You know, and of course David too. Like, that's the thing, is I saw how people were treating David. David's getting up there, and he you know, he's really into his anti-imperialist stuff, and I mean that's his focus. And I mean, he has so many things to say, and he's actually pushed Hawkins on this. And one of the first debates, he said, you know, I want more people to come and join. And, you know, just him saying that, you know, gave me the concrete thing. Okay, well, they're welcoming, you know, and in fact, David was the first one to reach out to me as far as the candidates. So I've had an opportunity to know the other cats. Dario, when I met him at the Indiana debate, and because I called out Hawkins then about the affiliation rule, and Dario pulled me aside. He was like, you know, I agree with you. You know, I just don't like the way you did it or whatnot. I'm like, okay, well, how do you want to do it? You know what I mean? Like, you know, so I've had this conversation, like, there's corruption going. This is corruption. You know, I know you don't see it, but and I appreciate the keeping it, you know, because I understand. But what is happening is no different from the behavior in the Democratic Party. And when we're outside looking at that, there's no doubt about what that behavior is, and it's hard to look at certain things internal. But anyways, you know, I expected. I mean, think about even Hawkins. I mean, he had an opportunity. Like, what you've been in the party. You first of all, they lie. I pull up the clip because I want everybody to see this. It's the clip of him where he acknowledges that he was invited on behalf of another party to join the first Green Party meeting, right? So he's not the fucking founder. And I just want everybody, and this was on June 8th. This was on June 8th. So he's just recently said this. But I just wanted to point out is these people had an opportunity. You've been in the party for this long, and you know all these different problems, or do you not know these different problems? You know, everybody kind of alludes to, oh, we have their issues, but why aren't we speaking about the elephant in the room? You know, and that's where we're at now. I mean, people are so uncomfortable to even to even have this conversation. And I'm glad you guys brought that up. I know I'm kind of going on, but I'm glad you guys brought that up too, about people that feel like this, us even having this conversation is somehow taking away from campaign people that are candidates and or voters, because both voters and candidates were screwed. Everybody, you know, I mean, Hawkins was screwed too. I mean, in a way, I mean, his ego is out of control. And if he would have let people vote, he would have realized, hey, or maybe he already knows. I guess 24 times losing, you should pretty much know that you ain't got the juice. You ain't got the juice. All right. Let me share this real quick, everyone, if you guys don't mind, and see if we could do this so you guys could see that. So I just want everybody to see this. You guys want to
power plant occupation at Seabrook in New Hampshire, which kind of sparked the whole anti-nuclear movement at that time. That was 1977. In 1984, when they had the first National Green Party organizing meeting, they invited the clamshell to send a couple people, and I was one of them. So my message to that meeting was, if we're going to build a party, we got to build it from the bottom up. We're not going to build it out of a presidential campaign. And so that we need to go out and organize local groups, get involved in local politics, elect local people, and build from the bottom up. And we proceeded to do that for the next dozen years, so that by 1996, when Ralph Nader let us use his name, he didn't actively campaign, as a presidential candidate on the
All right, I can't take too much of it. I don't want to bore. We probably lost all our viewers. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Come back. We won't play any more Hawkins. I promise. Well, maybe we'll embarrass him some more. But I just wanted to point that out, that he's not the founder, and that everywhere online says he's the fucking founder, and he's not the founder. And this is just another example of how these people, are playing. I mean, it's politics. They overinflate people's records and what the value of someone. And again, Ibra asks why. Why is this allowed? Why is this going on? Why? And this shit's about the bread. It's about the money. It's about being able to hold on to your positions. And so we're in a different crossroads. This way, let me just frame it like this. This is how Richard would probably just break it down real quick when he's just summing up. Now I lost my train of thought. Go ahead and break it down, Richard. I'll just let you do it. How about that?
Oh Christ, God, I was waiting for you to lead into it. Oh Jesus. Okay, all right. Well, folks, I mean the main thing right now, figuring out a way to get the narrative out there about the corruption in the party, given that a lot of alternative media doesn't even like to cover the specifics of third parties. And so Howie's taken that for granted and already sent out press releases that he's the nominee. You can see that in the Hill coverage that's happened in the past week. So we've been emailing all kinds of alt media outlets, and we've encouraged our volunteers to send emails too, just hey, check out the Draft Jesse movement. It's not dead. There's a real campaign. But an important thing in that clip that you just played is how he pointed out that they just used the name of Ralph Nader in 1996, right? Because Nader didn't endorse the platform, he didn't endorse the party, but they just used a name for recognition. Whereas now Jesse's someone who's endorsed the platform and used to endorse the whole of the party, and has policies that are in line with it. But it's building on a pre-established norm in a way that's more conducive to the party's goals, right? It seems like a no-brainer. I'm kind of repeating myself from the interview I did earlier this week, but yeah.
Well, this is a weird thing here about this video. So he was fine with using someone who's a celebrity, who's popular, to grow the party, but he's not fine with someone like Jesse Ventura, who would really energize the party and actively campaign, and not only the party in terms of the presidential election. He would impact every other candidate, including myself. I would have a better shot on this seat if he is the nominee, but I will not get anything from Howie. So anyhow, but he accepted it before, and he was doing it, actively promoting the idea of having using someone's names to grow the party. But when it comes to Ventura, he's not. And don't forget that 2 months ago he said he invited Bernie Sanders to the ticket.
Well,
don't forget this.
Well,
because he invited someone like Bernie Sanders, who is not really interested in the party.
Well, let me play a little devil's advocate, because the way that went down, first of all, it was very misleading in how it went down, because the way Lauren Steiner framed it was about that. And Howie basically alluded and went around the bush to because that was their whole game, right? Their whole game was
live stream
to ride the coattails of Bernie and the Democratic thing, because they knew that as soon as their candidate got cheated, that there's going to be a wave of people, wave of money and stuff like that. That's why they went.
Where is it? Where is that wave?
Well,
it didn't come. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
It's like ripples in a pond.
Right. Exactly. Well, I mean,
Someone dropped some pennies in a wishing well,
and I mean, it should be very embarrassing. But I forgot what I was going to say. Now, you guys threw me off.
I mean, someone pointed it out in the YouTube comments earlier too. He used the whole discussion of Sanders just to get people's eyes on the party, but because he knew Sanders would never actually accept it. Yeah. And so this has kind of called him on his bluff, right?
That was the point I was going to say, is that it was very, very deceptive, and the way that she framed it too. And even Jill Stein, when she said that, offered to him in 2016, I guess she didn't even have the right to do that. And I thought that was cool, but I didn't realize then. But I didn't realize now that she couldn't even do that. And again, I think she knew obviously he wasn't going to do it, so you could play the bluff. But Bernie just screwed people over again. You know what I mean? He's endorsing Joe Biden, and him showing that he has no he doesn't even want to call that out. You know what I mean? Just to dismiss the behavior that's being propped up, because Biden, he's not corrupt. Biden's you're a good friend, and you're talking about this 1% and these people that are doing all these different things, and the person that's selling everybody out is standing next to you, and he's your friend. I mean, there's your little club. Like, Bernie's like the guy, and I don't want to get too deep into Bernie, but again, Bernie come the 2016 or the back then, the DNC nomination back then. That was it for me with Bernie. That was my point I was trying to say.
I mean, like the way that I kind of read the pulse of things right now is it seems like in progressive media, in progressive spaces, in left-wing spaces in general, everyone almost kind of took for granted that Bernie was going to win, especially at the very start of the primaries when he started winning, winning Ohio, but the stuff with Buttigieg. I mean, people got a little complacent, even leading up to this after 2016, instead of organizing for a third party run in 2020, people just kind of fell in line and assumed, okay, Bernie's going to get him in 2020. That was like the logic of anyone that I spoke to. And so as soon as he drops out, resigns himself to Joe Biden's my very good friend and he can beat Trump. Everyone's sitting here with pissing in the wind. Like, what the hell are we going to do? And so suddenly it's like, 3 movements for people's parties show up. And everyone's got an ego where they're going to form ballot access by 2022. It's like no one's got the pragmatic mindset to pick up the energy right now and channel it into something third party immediately, right? Like in one of our volunteer Zoom calls, someone put it really well once, and I've been repeating this line. It's literally one Bernie rally would win the entire Green Party primary. Like, you get like 15,000, 20,000 people in a room, outnumber everyone who voted across all 50 states. So just like, there's energy there. We just got to tap into it. What are we doing here? How are we turning out 27 people to vote for the candidate who gets first place in a state after Bernie suspended his campaign? How did we let write-in Bernie take over the narrative before the Green Party got its way in there and said, hey, he's endorsed Biden? Like, there's just so many missed opportunities for a progressive movement to like latch onto a third party this cycle. And this is like kind of the last effort. And I'm telling you, 2024, the libertarians are going to be the ones who get third party access at this point, because they're going to have donors behind them when the Republicans are just a bunch of like religious conservatives, and the economic conservatives want a new home. And so then they get to channel all the energy into, we need a third party, into voting for more snakes in the grass instead of like a real grassroots movement. It's just like, we need to wake up.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Let's talk a little bit real quick. They were talking about Cynthia McKitty in the chat. So Cynthia McKinney was the presidential nominee of 2008, I believe, was the year that she was the nominee. Is that correct? Yeah. I personally think if all this, her as the VP, I think would tie the party in together, would bring the party in, because she has her roots here. She was a nominee before. I think it would be powerful. And I actually tweeted at her just to try to get a hard yes, like, hey, in the event you don't, I mean, obviously he hasn't said that, but in the event that he's offered it and you were asked to serve, would you accept the VP slot? And I know that Jesse's said that she would. You know, he said it many times, and I believe he said it a while ago. But the whole point is right now we need as many people speaking out, saying yes, yes, yes. Now, not we need to be showing as many clips and his tweets and of recent stuff. So,
well, Cynthia, if we can get Cynthia in the equation, that would be huge.
Just to get her,
she responded to us on Twitter the other day and agreed that Ventura should lead the party this cycle. Just to one of our volunteers, Dan. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. No, I mean,
the Danner was at Voltaire. I don't want to step on your thunder. They'll let me know.
Well, and so everyone, let's say that tweet the hell out of Cynthia McKinney.
Melissa has Cynthia's email, by the way.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, we'll be good to go. I want her to know that people are waiting, and again, it's obviously would be up to Ventura, but it would be nice to have some sort of consensus amongst us too, at least to say, okay, this is a strong thing, or I know it's a lot to look at in a couple weeks, but I mean, we have an opportunity to build a super cabinet, a super fucking shit, and if we did it the right way, where it's almost like a crowdsource type of vibe, we can really revolutionize politics, because nobody has used this correctly. I'm just telling you, nobody has used this phone correctly. Nobody's used the internet correctly. This shit is so new. We're so young in technology, this type of technology, social media, that we haven't used it to its full potential. And I think that's what we can do right now. And the energy's building up, and we go hard for 2 weeks, then, because if we can't take the corruption out of our own party, if we can't realistically do that and call out this behavior, whether you want to call it corruption or whether you want to just call it toxic behavior or shitty people or whatever term you want to use, we have to be able to do that and show that it's about the people, because Ibrahim said something too about there's not laws, right? Or did you say that, Richard? Somebody said this is not a law. This is a procedure.
Yeah, they're just norms. So it's like if the majority of the party agrees that the norm needs to change, the norm can change. It's not like someone's gonna get sued over Ventura taking the nomination. It's not gonna go anywhere if they try.
And we have somebody is here, everyone. Welcome, William. William Pounds has made his way into the Ventura-Thon. How are you?
I'm doing great.
You look like me at the beginning of the stream. Did you just take a nice welcome? And let's talk about this too, since you're here. Jesse wrote what was the book about the legalization? I can't think of the name of the book right away. So he's really big on cannabis and stuff like that, legalization.
Oh, you're talking about Jesse Ventura's Marijuana Manifesto.
Marijuana Manifesto.
Co-written by Jen Ha.
So point I wanted to bring up I was talking earlier too with some people. We got to organize in groups, organize in specific things like talking points and how to go after certain things. So what I've been focused on this whole time is the cannabis connection, which the cannabis connection is there's so many things from healthcare, police reform, when it comes to private prisons, because there's more people in jail for cannabis than all violent crimes combined. Blacks, minorities, 4 to 5 times as likely, even though whites, blacks use the same rate or whatnot. So we know the discrepancy. So there's there's a few core issues, and I know he talked about it when it comes to pollution and his framing and stuff like that. but the core issue like cannabis, we could really even explode this from a different angle. There's a bunch of different angles we can do. We can do this from and we can break it down to identities like cultures, right? You got your wrestling culture. You have all these different things that he's involved with. Go ahead.
Should we let Ibrahim say some last words? I think he was saying he needs to take off soon.
Yeah, man. Sorry. I'll talk. You have to. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know what to say. There's an opportunity.
No pressure.
There's an opportunity that the leadership in the Green Party, the presidential candidates, should really look carefully into this option. We might be blocking something that we will regret. Definitely will regret. We don't want to be the obstacle. We don't want to be the roadblock in the way of the people. We shouldn't be that obstacle. We cannot be that obstacle. And if we care really about the people, about the country, then this is the time to show it, to show that we have a platform that we need to advance, and we need someone to advance it, and we have it now. So what's the excuse? Anyhow, well, thank you for doing this. I know we have only 2 weeks, but I'm optimistic of some good news within the next few days. And just stay tuned. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ibrahim.
Thanks, man. Hey, well, do you mind telling everybody where they can find you too? Because you got the nomination in Oregon, and you're running. So like, give that.
So they can check my name. You can see it. You can go to my website, Abraham Taher. So Ibra is short for AbrahamTaher.com. You can find me on social media. You can just I think search me on Facebook, on Twitter. Maybe you can Google me, because you'll find me there too, on Google. Yep.
Awesome.
So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. We really appreciate you joining in.
Thanks.
And that's the thing too, is we getting Ventura in. He's going to get some people in too in Congress. So that's where we need a whole wave of people running to make sure that he's got his support. If he does, because I mean that's the whole point. And that's something else with his name recognition you can do, and it's I mean, it's only right. I mean, he knows that. See, we can lay out as a party, we can lay out all these different things to say this is what we need as a party, and this is what we need help for you to do. And we can lay it on the line. It doesn't have to be something we wait for him to tell to do it. We say, hey, this is what we need. This is what we need to happen. This is what you could do. With this, we can do something. And I think maybe that's the other way too, is to approach the the voters and the delegates and the party, is to say we really frame out, because we think about it. If we did this Ventura-Thon on the main GP page, right, the actual official shit, and we connected with the Restream and all your state parties, Facebook pages, all your Twitters, all your YouTubes, you would have people engage and covering it and really bringing in voices, really bringing in people, because everybody knows about the party, but you're not engaging people in the party. And this is the time to do it. So I just a little encouraging word. William, say something. Say something. Everybody wanted you to use your voice that you used last night.
I don't think I will. I won't be able to harness that type of.
You were
for some time.
You were able to get it out of you. I got you.
That was the accumulation of a bunch of rage, betrayal, and I will never be able to do that again, at least for some time. Oh yeah, I was.
Awesome. So, what you have anything to say? We were just talking about McKinney, and I know you like McKinney, and you've been. I mean, she's one of your favorite people. You've been very clear about that. Tell me. Well, first of all, again, let me bring this up. If new people joining in 2018, William actually brought this to a group of us. Well, and it was me, James Young, and he brought it to us, and we were working on this. We did the Ventura-Thons then about looking at all the strengths about having a Ventura run, what it could do for the party, just in the primary to get the attention off of the establishment and engage
And
people.
that's when Aaron Fox started paying attention
That's
to what
when
I was saying.
Oh yeah, that it wasn't.
And Mr. Fox would always talk to me. He thought that James Ottoman was Jesse Ventura. I posted a James Ottoman parody. This was back in 2018. I recall it vividly. I was just in my room, and this was one of the first conversations I had with Mr. Fox, and James Ottoman did one of his amazing parodies of Jesse, and Mr. Fox thought that was Jesse. Like, how dumb can you be to think that James Ottoman's parody is actually Jesse Ventura?
Actually, I don't know what time they close this.
Well, I mean, here's, and which I see. There's the thing: is you're in fucking politics, right? Like if you can't. Oh, sorry, I don't know. Oh, it's okay. If you don't notice and recognize what needs to be done, I mean, especially if you say that you've been in the game for a minute and that you've ran some campaigns, I mean, especially if you say you've ran some campaigns.
His biggest bragging right or whatever he does. I want a Democrat primary. He doesn't even he really doesn't even say what primary was. He just says, I want a Democrat primary for somebody. Right?
And all you do is open up the door for people because here's the thing: if you're doing something public office, you're doing something, you're a public figure, I mean, people have every right to point out your job and the way that you do your job, because there are people looking at you, and then they're looking at Jesse based upon you and how you represent yourself.
I need to ask Richard this. So you've heard James Ottoman do Jesse Ventura, right?
Is that the is
The
he
spoof.
running video?
Yeah.
That spoof. That spoof is hilarious.
We should watch that.
It's one of his main impersonations. But he did this one impersonation. It was just one he just recorded and just uploaded on his YouTube channel. I took that and put it on my fan page. And Aaron Fox saw that, and he thought that was actually Jesse Ventura. He thought James Ottoman talking about political slogans he thought that was that was actually Jesse.
Well, and and there's the thing. Well, who else? I mean, that makes sense. Why Justin Beth would put him in charge of doing it, because what's the best way you do is you put the person that what I said the other day, trip over himself eating soup. You know what I mean? And I hate to be like that, but damn, the world is going to shit, and we can't just beat around the bush around the people that are fucking it up for all of us. And that's to me again. I'm glad that it happened the way that it happened, because it was clear from first of all, his interview on the Convo Couch that he wouldn't say shit about Hawkins. And I understand that Ventura doesn't want to trash anybody, and go after. But I mean, the truth is the truth. I mean, that's the real lane. The real lane is to show that this primary is void. That's the real lane. And Justin Beth couldn't allow that to happen because he's implicated in that shit. and he's on the steering committee. He's a national co-chair, a liaison to the PCSC, and what he's helping run the exploratory committee, and then trying to threaten to sue people after he's speaking for a PAC, or is he speaking for Jesse?
The
Like
fake alias too,
with a
right?
fake
Austin,
like that shit. That's some real shit right there.
Didn't even take effort. He changed one letter.
The violations are so unlimited. Why the hell are you trying to fearmonger about you taking legal action? Aaron Fox once asked me for money.
Well,
he does not have the money
to
file a lawsuit.
And here's the thing. And there's the point, is that these people are bullies. They're used to people that are pushovers, I guess, that just fall in line, just as best a manipulator in the way that he talks and shit like that. They're just not used to somebody pushing back and saying, no, you're a liar. That's bullshit. You can't say I acknowledge everything that's going on with the Hawkins campaign. Yes, we need to get Andrea out and the Hawkins wing, Margaret, they'll all leave on their own accord. And then at the same time, we disagree on John Andrews, the PCSC co-chair. Well, if you believe that, then why are they allowing that? You're propping up the same person that's allowing the shit that you say that you're working against. That's bullshit. You're on the steering committee. Well, where's the thing? Hey, these people are I mean, this is so. I try to tell them too. I've been saying it. Nobody's going to come into a party or stay in a party. It's not going to grow, and it's clear that the insiders don't want it to unless you're on board with them, or you get in line. And I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the corporate type of energy that shit. Like, people have good ideas. I don't understand why our society rewards bullshit. I mean, well, I do and I don't. I'm answering myself. It's the propaganda and the programming. So, but let's see what everybody's saying on YouTube. All right. So they're talking about doing some campaign signs, stuff like that.
Yeah, it looks like there's folks at different BLM protests that are interested in holding up draft Jesse signs.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
We don't have any official signs right now, but that's... I mean, I'm sure we could come up with like a template or something and get that circulated out there.
Right, and you could actually send it out and just go get shit printed off at Kinko's or wherever.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if... who is doing that? Was it Gnomesteader? If you're not already on the Discord, there's a link to our Discord server on the Twitter profile, People for Jesse. Use that and join the server, because we could coordinate directly and give you the stuff to distribute if you're talking with them on Facebook. That would be awesome.
Right. And everybody, if you get a chance to, learn the 4 pillars: ecological wisdom. I say justice for all instead of social justice. Grassroots democracy, and nonviolence. I mean, some people say peace, but I like nonviolence, because nonviolence is very specific and clear that if we do this, we can do it under a banner of nonviolence, which means that there is zero room for it. So the whole point is to build this movement off this shit right here, because it's being educated. What they don't want us to do is connect and be educated. They don't want us to work these things out and say, hey, the things that we disagree about all stem from the same root issues. That's what they don't want. They don't want Ventura to run. They don't want that, because this is going to upset their narrative. Look at the establishment now, the Green Party establishment. They're either quiet, or then sometimes you'll have Justin Beth come out and he'll these people are so bad at what they do.
Yeah.
They're so, I mean, it's so bad. Like, what do they think, that somebody's not going to screenshot something, like, or not be like, if you join the whole thing and you say, I'm in these positions, I'm not supposed to be here or whatever, that's why I'm using a fake name. You don't think that people are going to, at some point, be uncomfortable with that? Like, especially when you see what's going on, all you're doing is putting Jesse in the same position, acting in the same behavior as Andrea in these positions. So that,
well, keep in mind too what the soft language lets them do. You know, if it's just a commitment to peace, you can do shit like what Susan did the other night and say, well, why do we have to declare a war on climate change while she's also pro death penalty? Like it. That's why you need a commitment to nonviolence, because the word war is not the issue. It's the act of killing and hurting people. Like, wake up.
as the solution. It's just things like ants. Think about ants. They work together as a unit. Like, we can communicate. This is the first time in history. I keep saying it's the first time in history in this way that we know of. You know, obviously that this is it. This is it. This is our chance before they fucking really censor us. Before they really, but we have to remember what they are willing to do in order to hold on to power. They are willing to go far beyond. So the biggest thing is to remember, it's the narrative, it's these people's reputations is how they hold on to power, because in order to they have to be able to fool people, and it's just harder and harder to fool people now because the internet's exposing these different things. And there's a culture that's building around being anti-corruption, being against the propaganda, being against the censorship. Those three things, and I feel like Ventura covers those, and he asks questions. And, okay, you know what? Here, let's talk about this. Okay, anybody, when he talks about conspiracy theories, this is how I answered it the first time back in 2018 when I was talking to people. All these conspiracy theories, and I said, well, he's asking questions. Like, if shit doesn't make sense, we don't trust our government for all these false flags and all this other shit that we found out. What's wrong with asking questions about these things if there's enough people asking questions? So here's the point is that Ventura is going to be the guy to release all this information, give us the facts about this shit, right? Because that's one of the reasons why they fear him. And I look at it like all those you're worried about the tinfoil hats, you're worried about whatever conspiracy theories, the CIA talking point. You're worried about that. Well, the point is here's the opportunity to find out the fucking truth. Find it out. And we're going to need some real counselors, because there's going to be some real PTSD shit when we find out all this dirt that's gone on, all these false flags, because you got to know there's more shit, more things that for me, I'd say release it all. Expose all these people. Let's just say fuck it. But again, I said we need somebody to help us. We need a lot of cannabis. We need a lot of people to help us deal with that shit. Because, think about how many people's lives have been cut short, families and people close to us, and that didn't have to if these people weren't fucking corrupt. And anybody asks how we're going to pay for it? We've already paid for it with our lives, our water, our soil, our air, our communities. We've already paid for it. The social interaction, the struggle, the people being at each other's throats, we're paying for it. The constant emotional response to the propaganda, we're paying for it. We've paid for it. The stress, the people in jail, the people that are dying, we've paid for it. Everybody's been paying for it. Now they need to pay for what they've done. And Ventura is the guy that's going to scare the living hell out of him. So, go ahead.
Pretty much.
That was. You can sum that up if you want.
Did we lose William?
I think he's taking a bong rip. So you know what? Well,
and I'm just like.
Oh, there he is.
At this point for me, at this particular point for me, I'm just like, if I'm not dunking on how much of a dumbass Aaron Fox is, I don't know what I'm doing. The guy thought James Ottoman was actually Jesse Ventura, and he ended up becoming his exploratory campaign director.
Listen, all that, like, I get it. Like, even if you don't really know, that's one thing. I can let that go. Me, it has to do with that press conference that he knew was coming up a whole week, and he couldn't even stream it from the Green Party's page. He streamed it from his own account, and the whole thing was.
And like Aaron's phone or something was one of the full recordings.
I told you guys, he asked me for money. And he's talking about filing lawsuits when he asked me for money.
Well, Well, I mean, and there's the thing. Like, I'd even care about that. To me, my thing is like, is these people, and that's they're just full of themselves. It's like to use it like, oh, who talked to Jesse Ventura? Who was that sitting in there? I met with him. Like, I'm not starstruck. I'm talking about a leader, somebody that actually wants to fucking run. That's a statesman, and I fucking love that statesman. I'm a statesman. That shit. Sorry, Ventura. I'm still in that shit. But no, I just, it's not about the publicity. If you get caught up on that, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If all you see is celebrity, that means you either don't know the game, don't know the entertainment business and how that works, because there's a lot of people with a lot of expertise that can school a lot of people that are famous. You know what I mean? That have name recognition. There's kids that are on YouTube that are kid famous. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole social media is like, come on. I get on that because I know too many artists, real people, and now obviously there can be a disconnect sometimes when you're used to Will and dealing with people that are big money and around a lot of cats that have money. And it's a different ideology, right? It's a different world, it's a different culture. And that's the thing that is interesting, I think, for Ventura too, is because he understands that culture, he understands that world, so he's going to be able to maneuver around that and understand like the difference in people. Because not everybody that has money is a bad person. Like, we're not even having that conversation. The way everybody talks about shit, they act like creating, making something, or it's the predatory capitalism is the problem. When people prey on people and destroy people's lives, just to make a dollar. That's different from somebody having bread because they were smart and they were in a movie or they wrote a song or whatever.
Those are the same kind of people that they hammer on Bernie because he wrote a book and made some money, right? Like, it's missing the forest for the trees, Congrats. Or like, do you clown on Richard Wolff because he's successful and he's a professor of economics and is a Marxist? Like, just because he has a YouTube channel and makes a little bit of money through, like, those kind of pure, again, it goes back to purity tests versus looking at what the person is actually doing, right? It distracts from the actual issue. It's a problem.
Big problem. And I was going to tell everybody, if you got them, smoke them. Sorry, I apologize. I meant to say that. You guys, I feel like I could be real with you all, and I think we should be real with each other in general. But yeah, smoke them if you got them. And yeah. All right. Let's see what anybody else has to say. We don't have to go for too much longer. But we do want to talk. Let's talk a little quick strategy, I guess. And the next 2 weeks are so important.
Well, I also want to show everybody the video that Aaron Fox
well,
was actually Jesse. I'm going to show it. I want people to see how dumb Fox is. Okay.
All right. Well, you know what? All right, buddy. Let's do it. You share that.
Well, I'm going to locate it real quick. I know what it is.
Okay. Well, we could show that here in just a second then. Just to say strategy-wise, we have 2 weeks from today is when they're having the convention, so we have to go really fucking hard in the next 2 weeks. Even if and again, I tried to frame it with Cynthia McKinney as like, if he was nominated or given the nomination offered to him, again, if we all agreed, then would you accept the VP slot if asked to serve? I'm trying to frame it in ways where you get a concrete answer, but it doesn't have to be. It's a concrete answer off a hypothetical situation to help boost and get the juice. So let's try to hit Cynthia McKinney. Let's try to put pressure on these people. And I know that they shared some things out. Like, I mean, where's Jill Stein? Where's Ujamu talking about these issues? Talking about the behavior and the things that's going on in the party. I mean, that's a big thing. We need to hit them. We need to hit them, like Twitter and comments and stuff like that on all the social media. Same thing with each individual state Green parties. Let's go and tag and tweet all these different things and say, hey, here's an opportunity. Let's show each individual state in their own right. Like, hey, let's put the party on the map in the way that it should. And again,
we're doing.
Go ahead.
There's going to be a strategy call tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific time. There's going to be a Zoom strategy call. So if anyone's listening who is not connected through Discord or Slack or something to People for Jesse, go to draftjesse.com and sign up for the newsletter, because we always send out our Zoom call links through the newsletter. So that would be, you just sign up for volunteer. That would be where you would go in order to sign up there. And then right at the bottom, you'll see there's a link at the bottom of the front page to join us, and just put in your email there, click join us, and you can sign up for the newsletter as well. That way you can guarantee that you get a link to the Zoom call if you're interested, but you're not part of one of our groups already.
Awesome. I saw something about trying to get people engaged with the Yang Gang and stuff. I like the real clip of Ventura talking about a maximum wage. I thought that was cool, and I just a random thought. Like a maximum profit, especially for certain industries. And I was,
You guys ready for the video that
Yeah.
Aaron Fox once thought was
Well,
actually Jesse Ventura?
yes. Let's go
the
ahead.
video I found.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yep. This is Jesse the Governor Ventura. I want to set the record straight on some of the events that transpired in the last week. Yes, I met with Tim Walz, the governor-elect of Minnesota. Now, the mainstream media, they said that I showed up looking like someone emptied an air filter. Here's what happened. I drove up in my van from Cabo all the way to Minnesota. Yep, I've got a van, and it's got some political slogans plastered on the outside, along with some poetry and maybe a couple of tarps. I parked the van on the lawn of the state capitol in St. Paul, and I was blasting my Jimi Hendrix 8-tracks. That's my prerogative as a former governor of the state. Now, to the untrained eye, I might look like a garden variety madman who shows up screaming that he has to talk to the governor. But in my case, I actually was a governor. So I sat down with Tim Walz, governor to governor. He said, Jesse, I've really got to go. So I said, sure, here's my advice. There's some common sense, tripartisan solutions for the state of Minnesota. First off, marijuana, legalize it. Not just medical marijuana, not just recreational marijuana. I'm talking about reckless, daytime, on-the-job use of all cannabinoids and hallucinogenic substances. Bring those jobs back to the upper Midwest. I'm talking about the tie-dye and glass-blowing industries. They're worth potentially billions of fractions of bitcoins. Second, I said you gotta do light rail.
All right.
So again, that's way back. That was
Well,
2 years ago.
It's clear.
2 years ago, Aaron Fox thought that was actually Jesse.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense now. I was gonna say while you're there too, should you play that little clip of Dario where Ron Placone had said that Dario ignored his requests, Twitter requests, and obviously other people. requests?
You know, Dario has been trying to defend himself like crazy.
He's hurting
due
right
to
now.
this.
He's
Like,
Did you want to do you want to share that real quick, and then we'll
I have to say that I haven't necessarily endorsed Dario Hunter, but I've told people, I've made this recommendation that if you're presented with two choices, Howie or Dario, I recommend you pick Dario because of what I showed you in that clip, you know? He's rather compelling in my opinion anyway.
Well, I don't know much about him. I will say this. I reached out to him and have been ignored. People have tweeted me. They're like, we want you to have Dario Hunter on. I've tweeted him. I'm like, I've reached out. I've never heard back.
I've had him on this show.
You have? Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, I can't get him. And I've also, I've seen him, basically, I've kind of seen him also not show up for shows that he should not be blowing off. You know, if you don't get back to me, that's fine. Like I get that. I'm not that easily insulted. It's not really that big of a deal. But, you know, I've also seen him, you know, not take media appearances seriously that he should be taking seriously. So, you know, I like what he has to say, you know, as far as Dario Hunter goes. You know, again, I'm still learning about him, but, you know, some of the behaviors that I've seen from Peeks Under the Hood, you know, I question, you know, they are questionable, where it's like, well, gee, is this guy, you know, like, what's his deal, really? But I like what he has to say, what I have heard.
What's your response to this?
Just briefly, we did appear on Placone, we did appear on Primo Nutmeg. Dora refused to have us on and has not had on any Green candidates. I hope that changes. I hope all the candidates get an opportunity for that. As to us campaigning with Howie, I think that would be news to both of our two campaigns.
And the thing about Dario is that Jimmy Dore won't let you on there. Steph says it many times because they sent you a thing and you ignored it. You ignored it. You may not be getting on there now, and that's because they were offended that you would not get on there. Over 700,000 people, over 800,000. He's like one of the biggest progressive voices, and you ignored that. That is clearly that you were not trying to promote the party. You tried.
Time. Briefly, that's simply not true. And if you're going to allow this to continue with a back and forth of reprisals and people arguing with each other, I would ask that the moderators actually stick to their own rules about this. But I'm going to respond directly to that and say that that's unfortunately not
Let me ask
this. You should pull up that one of Howie too, just to give people a good laugh. Another one. But see, that was to me, that's a big deal. You know, I mean, Ron Pacone him, Graham, like these people are like on the front line of indie media of progressive, and I look at them on the front line. I mean, Jimmy Dore, I mean, I like his style anyways. I like the fuck. You know, I like that. That's what I listen to. You know, why would you ignore? Why would you ignore press? You could have been easily got ahead, especially if Jimmy's against Hawkins, the whole Russiagating thing, and he's the death of the Green Party. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but that's a good clip.
I mean, so assume that you give him full benefit of the doubt. Whoops, I responded too late and they got offended. What does that say about his organization and if you really want him in the general? Like, right? Like, either way, it's not the best look to blow off a media outlet like that. Like, you get a reply from a media outlet like that, you should, especially as a Green Party candidate, be going on, right?
Well, that was December when Ron Pacone was on the podcast. That was December. And then it wasn't till the beginning of April that he went on Ron Pacone. And I went on Ron Pacone first. And you could see my interview in the comments. They're like, well, get Dario on. And you see Ron like, I've reached out. He hasn't reached out. Even then. So that's my point, is like, I understand what you're like. To me, I just look at it like you purposely.
I see somebody asking about, so basically Dario has repeatedly been asked to respond to the question of why would you blow off Jimmy Dore when you're campaigning for the Green Party nomination and you need exposure. And his responses have haven't they vacillated back and forth between, He's never asked us to. We responded too late, right? Like it seems like he's had multiple answers, or is that just because the situation has changed?
Well,
it doesn't look like he gives us a straight story about it.
Well, he keeps kind of changing the story. He says, "Oh, you keep moving the goalposts," and I try to say, like, what he does, he says, "No, I spoke out, I called it out," and then he shared the interview with William, which again was 10 months ago, from September after he got his recognition status and he went on that eco-socialism thing, till the end of March when he went on Nico House. He was publicly pretty much silent about everything. And especially again in Ohio, in Idaho, and you got that clip too.
I really want to pose this. It's very intriguing because Beth, what he seems to express is very pro Dario, but what I've seen Fox express is very pro Howie.
Right.
Fox was always telling me about, how mean Darlene was to him, after that first meeting, the first volunteer meeting had for the exploratory. That was the first that she was there, and she just yelled out his ear, in Fox's words anyway. I just I don't know who Mr. Beth serves, and perhaps this is intentional, perhaps it's kayfabe, perhaps it's, I don't know.
And that's what really struck me. Like, I was like, is it what is it, organized opposition? Because it just
controlled opposition.
Controlled opposition, that's the word. Yeah, because it just seemed weird to me. Like, you had an opportunity here to boost yourself, anyways, in a lot of different ways by leading and asking everybody to be on, the debates and stuff like that. But then it was just different because he was very against all the BS before and then after.
I mean, the one thing that I'll keep in mind too is, if other folks in the party are starting to light up Justin, but all the folks involved are all kind of questionably corrupt from what's going on, we need to be mindful of how much piling on Justin just wastes our time from focusing on getting Jesse nominated, right? Like, it could be that they're just willing to sacrifice someone at this point. Like, let him go off the deep end. Same with Aaron, right? So if we sit here crucifying them and then we ignore winning the nomination, like, sure, we've slandered them, but Howie gets the nom. So we need to be mindful of that too, with how much time we spend. Like, I pointed this out with Primo Nutmeg. No one's looking at Justin's Twitter feed until he tags someone from People for Jesse, or he starts getting into it with Chad on Twitter. Like, no one gives a damn what he's saying there otherwise. It's just, why don't we just keep it that way? That's what we did with We Want Jesse, because they kept sending us all these weird back channel threats. We're just like, they don't have any influence. Let's just ignore them because it's just a distraction. Right? Like, if we just keep focusing on pushing the message of drafting Jesse and the corruption that we know about, everything else just kind of falls in line, because Justin always shows up anyways.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's the thing too that I'm noticing. Remember, it's just like the two-party system. Like, they're willing to sacrifice somebody to hold on to their power. But the biggest thing is that they'll work together. Those two factions will work together before giving up their reins.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is that where we're at now is that you're going to see. I mean, you're going to see the other. That's the thing is from what I heard from the grapevine is that the person who asked Dario to run or got him involved is the same person who initially asked Jill Stein to start running. So, like, the whole grooming thing, as far as like to be a candidate, to get in and stuff like that. That's what I heard, behind through the word. So it seemed like he's the answer to the Andrea wing, because they have this like little friction thing, and that's what Ian talked about in the Primo Nutmeg interview. But point is that that's why, of course, Jill Stein has been silent, Jamu's been silent. the leaders have been silent because this is their hustle. This is their game. Like if they speak out any which way, it exposes them. It's like that's why they can't get Trump on war crimes, because you get Trump on war crimes, you're saying it's the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
So that's where the whole Russiagate and the bullshit there, and that's a big key that I look at is that what the establishment's done is given validity to the argument about being against Russiagate. So all it's done is given more weight and more juice to Trump's base, because they're actually arguing against the bullshit, the Russiagate, you know, when it was going on as heavy as it was. So it's, again, not to, you know, condone it. The point is, like you said, is they want to distract you and keep you focused on something else while they're letting everything else happen, you know, and Justin may be that, and you know, so that's a good point to make. Good point to make. Did you want to show that, William? I put it in the. Oh, he's hold on. He just hit that. He just took a nice bit. All right, I shared that just so they could see. So so the only time Hawkins ever really talked to me, right, was in Chicago at this forum that Rich Whitney is the guy, the head of the co-chair of.
I want to make a remix of it. He's just. I want to like.
Yeah. Oh, well, then tell. Well, then tell people.
Like, I want to get cringy ass quotes of Howie, and then just get Howie saying, "You're full of shit." I want to make it into like a fucking beautiful ass remix.
And then Russia. It's all in the Morpole. It's all
You're
over there.
You're full of shit.
It's all over there. Oh, it's all over there. So that's another one of your guys.
I was tired and hungry.
Yeah, I was tired and hungry. Russia. I'd like, actually, it would be awesome if you guys could do it to the
Russian propaganda.
He did collude. Him and his son and his son-in-law. He did collude. Sorry. All right. I put it in there in the timestamp. I just want you guys to see Hawkins. So this is the first time he spoke to me, and this was his argument. We called him out straight up. Oh, I was going to tell you, and also Rich Whitney, Illinois Green Party. He's one of the people that put on the eco-socialism event, so he's one of the bad characters too. And Chris Blankenhorn, he's part of the Illinois too, and the Young Eco-Socialist, the vice chair. He was the one who originally said, "Hey, a group of us got together and made a plan for 2020, a campaign plan, but we didn't have a candidate. We had a plan, but we didn't have a candidate." So it's at about, let me find, about 13 minutes in. Right at that's, I can't hear it either. Hey, 13 minutes in, buddy. 13 minutes in. Like, we don't need to watch this whole thing. Just show the clip. 13 minutes in. Just.
It's not
this is a short clip.
This is not 13 minutes.
Oh, let me see. It says 12:13 and 08 seconds.
What? This is a minute long.
It shows it's got 47 seconds left.
Is that the link that I sent you?
I think so. It's also just like filming the floor.
What are you talking about? There's 15 minutes on the one I'm looking at.
Well, I see.
At 13...
Clearly, there's a saboteur working here.
What the fuck? 13 minutes in. That's weirdo. Do it again. Do it again. That's weird. No.
1 minute and 17 seconds.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, when I follow that link, it does that too.
Weird. I swear to God, I'm just you know what? Let me share this and I'm gonna show you guys. That's some weird ass.
I just maybe that's the deep state doing some cropping.
I'm with
the video.
All right, I'm gonna. Okay. All right, can you guys see that now? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
15 minutes long. Weird shit. All right. All right. All right.
You have a crew of cheaters.
All right.
Yeah, watch what's gonna happen.
You cheat. You have a crew of cheaters. You've cheated. You've cheated. I'm saying, no, I'm not. What are you talking? Came from nowhere. Who are you trying to say? I came from what? Nowhere. What are you talking about, Mr. How long have you been doing this? How long have you been doing this? Have you ever won one thing? You are a professional politician, a career candidate. Over 20-something things. You have not won one thing. This is not your party. I get.
You full of shit. Yes, you are, Howie. Yes, you are.
I love that. That just made me happy. That made me happy. Oh, should we show that clip of Dario too, where he ignored when we called him out?
Yes. You know, Dario wants to be acting like he's the fucking champion of truth and justice. Get that shit out here right the fuck now.
Okay, look, we got William going. We got William going. That was something that got him going. Let's find it. Let's find it here. All right, it's the second one, I believe. I just got to find it.
30 years through an ecological framework. America at the one time in our
I don't know where it's at. I should have had it. You guys talk for a second. You guys could talk for a second while I find this.
When this clip of Dario just saying pass to this question about, states having to act, justly and upholding elections, this question over here that he just said pass to, no, he doesn't get to answer it now. He doesn't get to answer it. He passed.
You can pass questions in Green Party debates?
He passed. So what the fuck is he tweeting? Why the fuck is he tweeting about rigging when he passed the question?
Well, because now it benefits him to talk about it, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to find out where it was.
No, he passed. Tell him to stop fucking tweeting.
No,
He's
I know. I'm trying to find it.
fucking complicit.
All right, I'm trying to find out where this is at.
He passed. Why is he tweeting? He passed. You passed, motherfucker. You passed. You passed.
Okay,
Well,
hold on.
looks like there's a Cynthia McKinney update possibly coming in. We'll send to Discord. Okay, well then there'll be a little bit of a delay on updating everybody watching.
All right.
But we'll get to it. That's exciting.
Why the fuck are you tweeting, Dario? You passed.
Okay. Well, let's just give it. Okay, William. Let's find this first. I'm having a hard time finding this clip. It's in here. I just didn't have it ready.
The major party candidates won't talk about it.
Okay. I knew it was in one of these. Maybe it was on the other one, the first one. You cussed me out too. It's okay.
And then supersonic.
and you let them be known. And again, I'm gonna repeat this. We said this at the beginning that we would share. So the ruckus you saw was because people did not want us to do this, and it's beautiful.
I want a green. I don't know what this is at. I sent you that. You got that. I sent you the clip, William.
A long time ago, and I don't know where it is because I would publish it.
Okay.
This instant. That motherfucker passed.
Okay. Let's play it before we build it up too much more. I just want you to. Where's this damn thing at? So. All right.
Has anybody here heard of a nonprofit business model?
I don't know. You know what? I could just download that shit.
And then stay in touch with them.
I don't know. You guys talk for a second. Let me just find this shit. Because it's within an hour. I just don't know the time marker. I guess I should have had it, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm just...
Well, Cynthia McKinney keeps engaging with us on Twitter. She just called the People for Jesse movement an important one.
Oh.
In a response to a tweet from Melissa.
I've already told her that, we want Jesse. That was sabotage. That was motherfucking sabotage.
That was motherfucking sabotage. I don't, that's not right. That's not the way the song goes. Where is this at? You know what? I sent it to you. I'm just gonna download it, the clip, because I sent it to you, William.
Wait, what? You're gonna send it to me again?
No. I'm saying I sent it to you, so I'm just gonna re-download it.
Oh, okay.
From
You
where?
were able to find it. I wasn't able to find it. Oh, okay. But yeah, no, motherfucker, you passed the question. You don't get to answer it now. That's the deal. That's the deal. You passed the question. You don't get to fucking answer it now. Nope.
Okay, William. All right, William Bound. I gotta search your thing. So, well, I to me that sounds promising then, because if we got her on board, if we even talk about this shit, then it would be. Oh, here it is. It would be huge. Download. Really? Why can't I preview it? What the fuck?
Yeah, I've been calling out this corruption far longer than Dario's fucking weak ass. You know, like, and just like, oh my God. Dario Hunter ain't for no clean the greens. He don't want to clean no greens. Maybe he wants to clean the greens he don't.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's finally to it, everyone. Thank you for hanging in there. Let's try to do this right here.
He passed.
All right, I'm transitioning to there so you guys could see this. All right.
I remember, but
I just want to call out some folks. At the beginning of this, everybody, you got to remember and realize that recognized candidates told folks way ahead of time that we were okay with doing what you see us doing. That's what they were fighting against. We cannot say we're green and not be okay with, look how brilliant Chad is. Look how wonderful my sister Susan is. Why would you not be okay with hearing them and me allowing our David B. and Dennis to be heard from? But our two brothers haven't done that, and they want to lead. For me, leaders eat last. Leaders eat last. And if we can't show green values, I don't want anybody representing me that doesn't have the humility to share. I'm calling out green values. Let them be seen. Let them be known. And again, I'm going to repeat, we said this at the beginning that we would share. So the ruckus you saw was because people did not want us to do this. And it's beautiful.
I'm just, thank you, said no.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, but he cussed me out 2 days ago.
Yeah. Well, because I'm really trying to help. I'm trying to engage. And I really care about people. I really care. And, I'm tired of people thinking because of my age or because of whatever that I don't have any value to offer. We all have something to offer, and we should be working together as a unit. And we should have one big platform. We should be going everywhere together. People should be engaged in the Green Party primary like they are in the Democratic. And we actually have more to say. And especially when we get into it, we have really more to say. And we haven't even had that opportunity. So I do want to thank you guys. It's been absolutely an honor to run with you, to talk with you, to deal with you. Even though I cuss you out, it's okay. And you cuss me out too. It's okay. I really appreciate it, and I would like to see Dario and Howie stand up and be.
Oh yes, wouldn't that be awesome?
Well, with regard to this forum, I didn't say one way or the other, because I respect the Ohio Green Party decisions without me meddling. So I went with what you decided. You can say exclude anybody, don't include anybody. That's your decision.
Right. That's good.
Silence is agreement.
Yeah.
Let's all be real clear.
Said it now. It's Dario's turn.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see what he's gonna say to confront the reality. Oh, can I take his time?
No, you didn't.
Oh, see? Can Susan take his time? Dario can give his time away.
It's your turn,
Certainly technology is...
Motherfucker, you passed. You passed.
Okay.
You don't get to go on the Twitter now. You don't get to go on the Twitter now.
Okay,
You
William.
passed.
William. We got William. We got the Williaminator, whatever it's called. True. Did you guys see that though? Did you guys see where Dario said nothing, and nothing? Why would you say nothing if you're really worried about the exclusion? So I wasn't on the ballot, right? They wrote me in. I still got some votes, but they had to write me in, which just goes to show that if they allowed me, I would have gotten some votes. I mean, and the thing, it's approval voting. So it's like, but it is what it is. I just wanted everybody to see that, because that's what I'm sore about. Because I drove, first of all, everybody flew into Nashville, and we went to the Green Party potluck that Friday night, met with the Tennessee Greens, the Tennessee Greens are awesome, by the way. Tennessee Greens are awesome. We all hung out there, ate food. We watched this video on the farm, like this old hippie commune thing that's in Tennessee that was real popular back in the, this big movement and stuff. So we sat there, we talked and socialized, and then we left at like 10 o'clock. Me, Sednam, David, and Susan all jumped in the car, drove up to Ohio, straight to Ohio. Overnight, we pulled in at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. We got a room for like 2 hours. Waited, and then at 9 o'clock, we went to this thing, and then, that's the kind of shit you deal with. And then we left and went straight to Chicago. Right from there, all within like, 24 hours, like all this driving. And then that other video we showed of Howie, that was Howie then, it was the same day, both the same day. So point goes to show that these people don't really want new voices or fresh ideas. They want to play fucking high school politics and think that beating the high school game is winning. Like, I mean, so, all right, you guys, everybody's trying to wrap this up. I know we've been going fucking long. I appreciate you guys hanging in there, and you guys rock and roll. Anybody want to have any parting thoughts, parting things to add in there? Because
My parting thoughts are as simple as this: motherfucker, you. Those are my parting thoughts. Dario Hunter. You passed. Don't go on the Twitter now. No. Bad Hunter. Bad Dario. Bad. No, you passed. You passed. Those are my parting thoughts.
Thank you, William. Thank you for that. All right, Richard, would you like to?
And make sure that you're signed up on the website, draftjesse.com, for the newsletter. Sign up to volunteer. Check out on the Twitter people for Jesse for the number 4. And look at the Discord link if you want to join there. You can join the Discord server, help coordinate. And don't forget about the strategy call tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific time. There'll be more info about that coming out soon. That way we can rally the troops. If you didn't get your message in, yesterday was Joe Rogan Friday. Go to Joe Rogan's website and fill out the contact form and tell him to get Jesse on the show and talk about the draft campaign movement. Maybe encourage him to look at some of the videos that are up. Send him a link to like the Primo. There's like the 1 minute 45 long clip that he's got where it's like titled "Breaking." Jesse Ventura says he'll write himself in. That's a good one to link if you're just sending a short thing out to a celebrity. Just if you want something quick to do, that's a nice thing to do. That would help. Awesome. And yeah, Noam Stetter, join the Discord. Check out our Twitter people for Jesse, and you can join the link through there. That'll be a way to stay in touch if you want to connect.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for all this. Hanging in there and just, I mean, just going hard. I mean, we are the front line. And let's get this shit. So I'm gonna play this outro of the beautiful work that you guys have done, and thanks all for tuning in.
And I'll tell you something else honestly, before I put my butt on the line, this country better show me it's worth it. We gotta think revolutionary. You gotta be ready to elect Che Guevara. Because I will change things if I won.
We need a single-payer, government-run health care.
It's a human right. If you're sick, you should be able to go to the doctor. If we weren't spending all our money on these wars, we could have health care 3 times over.
Health should not be for profit. Everybody in this country deserves the same health care that congressmen get. They should be no better or no worse than us. After all, don't they work for us?
I would start a war on the climate and a war on pollution. I'm watching the oceans die before my very eyes. I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. If the oceans die, we die.
The basic 4 years should be free, so we now pay from kindergarten through 4 years of college. We can do that if we get out of the wars. I'll support that. If we guarantee we get out of wars, the result will be free college.
The state of our country today, we're in a mess. And who is to blame? The Democrats and the Republicans. They have been in charge for my entire life. How can we take our country back today? Simple. Stop voting for Democrats and Republicans. We must, this election, elect an independent. Will you agree we're polarized? The worst we've been probably since the Civil War, I would imagine. Well, if you elect a Dem or Repub, the polarization is going to continue. The only way the country's going to get reunited is to elect an independent president.
So then do you feel a need to do it in order to serve your country?
I have that voice in the back of my head that says to me, if not you, then who? It's there. If they got the frickin' guts to let me in a debate, I'll come in and destroy their 2 candidates and steal the election in November, just like I did in Minnesota.
Ventura being declared the winner. First he was Jesse the Body Ventura, then he was Jesse the Mind, and now he's Jesse the Governor.
If the Greens come back to me in the end of July and say, you're my man, if it becomes brokered, I won't shut the door.